સારી છે. એક જ બ્રેકેટ પર શું હસીનો તારું નામ નથી ને? ના. એટલે હસીનો તો મળવાનો ના. એ દાખલાથી ફાયદો શું? એ દાખલાથી ફાયદો શું? આમાં ઓછો થાય તો એટલે એક્સેસિવ રેટ તો સેમ રાખવાનો છે. 20% જ રહે. આમાં લેસ કોઈ જે કરે
भैया रेज एंड करेलू છે પ્રકાશભાઈ.
सब ज्वाइन हो गए सर. ठीक है. ओके ओके. सब ज्वाइन हो गए
સર. 7 લાખ તો છે જ. તમે 7 લાખ છો. તમારા માંથી ડિજિટલ એની અગર લોનમાં આપણે લેતા વાત કરી ટોટલ એના થઈને જ છે ને એક્સપેન્સ અહીંયા ક્યાં ના
हेलो प्रकाश गुड इवनिंग.
સનતભાઈ
પટ્ટો પડી ગયો છે રાઈટ. એ તો વ્યાજી ખર્ચો પડી ગયો ને ખર્ચો પડી ગયો રાઈટ. એટલે તો નેટ જ ઇન્કમ.
गुड इवनिंग साहब.
गुड इवनिंग प्रकाश केम છો?
बस
મજામાં.
વિકાસભાઈ 5 મિનિટમાં જોઈન થાય છે. સિસ્ટમમાં એમને પ્રોબ્લેમ થયો છે ને.
ઓકે બરાબર. તો અમે 5 મિનિટ પછી જઈએ.
ચા આપી દો બધા. પ્રકાશભાઈ ચા મોકલાઈ દો બધાને.
પ્રકાશ ચા પીવી છે?
ચા પી લો, વાંધો નહીં.
ના ના તારે પીવી છે એમ પૂછું છું. અહીં આવતો રહે.
મારે ને હા ચા પીધી. ના ના પીને બેઠો સાહેબ.
પ્રકાશ ઓ પ્રકાશ
બોલો ને.
પીને ના બેસી જા તું કે પીને બેઠો છે.
ચા પી લીધી
હે અલા જોજે
ચા પી લીધી સાહેબ.
હા હા
2 લાખ ની અંદર હશે.
હેલો
ચા પીને બેઠો છું સાહેબ.
હા હા
હેલો.
શું ચાલે છે ભાવેશભાઈ? ચેરમેન સાહેબ
હું એકલો જ આવતો છું અંદર. હું એકલો જ આવતો છું. હું એકલો જ છું અત્યારે. મજામાં?
બસ સર ફર્સ્ટ ક્લાસ.
શું કહો છો?
કેમ છો?
બસ ફર્સ્ટ ક્લાસ. જો બેઠા છે તમને સાંભળવા.
આ વખતે બહુ ટાઈમ વરસ થઈ ગયો નડિયાદ લેક્ચર માં લગભગ.
એટલે જ પ્રકાશ મેં તમને યાદ કર્યા.
હિરેનભાઈ કેમ છો?
બસ બસ.
ઓહો ચેરમેન સાહેબ. સર કેમ છો? એ ભાવેશભાઈ બે વખત આયા. ભાવેશભાઈ બબ્બે દેખાય છે. પ્રકાશભાઈ આવાજ સાયલેન્ટ છે તમારી. પ્રકાશભાઈ આવાજ સાયલેન્ટ છે.
ભાવેશભાઈ તો બધી જગ્યાએ ફેલાયેલા છે એટલે તો રેડી વિકાસભાઈ? રેડી?
ઓહો રેડી રેડી.
હિરેન ઓકે ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, આ આપણી સેકન્ડ VCM છે. As this is our we are gaining experience on this VCM, so we hope that this will improve day by day. બરાબર. And તો એટલે હવે આપણે આ જે કમ્પલસરી ટોપિક છે એની ઉપર આપણે આજે RCM વિકાસભાઈને આપણે ઇન્વાઇટ કરેલા છે અને હવે આપણે ઓન ધ ટાઈમ છે એટલે હવે બહુ ટાઈમ વગર હું હિરેનને હેન્ડ ઓવર કરીશ કે જેથી એ વિકાસભાઈનો આપણને એ આપે ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપે. હિરેન. હિરેન.
અવાજ બંધ છે હિરેનભાઈ, અવાજ બંધ છે.
હિરેન અનમ્યુટ કરો. હિરેન અનમ્યુટ.
પ્રકાશ ફોન કરીને એને કે. હા
પ્રકાશભાઈ તમે કદાચ અનમ્યુટ કરી શકો એમને.
સ્ક્રીન છે ને તો એ દેખાશે. હું તમને સનતભાઈ થોડી વારમાં કરું, અત્યારે પેલા એમને ચાલે છે, એક વાર સ્ટાર્ટ થઈ જાય પછી વાત કરું. હલો 5 મિનિટમાં કોલ કરું સનતભાઈ.
હાઇલાઇટ કરીએ છીએ ને.
હિરેન. હેલો હેલો.
जैसे होते हैं मैक्सिमम.
હિરેન. એનીવે વિકાસભાઈ.
हाँ जी.
હેલો.
हाँ बोलो साहब.
આઈ થિંક પ્રોબ્લેમ લાગે છે.
हाँ हाँ.
હું જ તમારું પેલું બ્રીફ ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપી દઈશ.
ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન ની જરૂર નથી, નડિયાદમાં તો ઘર છે હવે.
વિકાસ બોલે એટલે ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન થઈ ગયું.
જાતે જ આપી દેશે પ્રકાશભાઈ.
બરાબર છે સાહેબ.
વિકાસભાઈ જાતે જ આપી દેશે.
પ્રકાશભાઈ અવાજ આવે છે?
આવે છે સર.
ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન તો વિકાસભાઈ હવે ફ્લો.
પ્રકાશભાઈ.
હા
હા સોરી ટેકનિકલ કારણથી ડિસ્કનેક્ટ થઈ ગયું હતું.
વાંધો નહીં. હવે ફ્લોર સીધો આપણે વિકાસભાઈ.
ઓકે
વિકાસભાઈ.
યસ સર. ફર્સ્ટ ઓફ ઓલ તો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર કન્વીનર ઓફ ધ સ્ટડી સર્કલ પ્રકાશભાઈ શાહ, ચેરમેન આણંદ બ્રાન્ચ ભાવેશભાઈ ઠક્કર, ગેલેક્સી ઓફ પાસ્ટ ચેરમેન ઓફ આણંદ બ્રાન્ચ રવિભાઈ છે, વિમલભાઈ સાહેબ છે, હિતેશભાઈ, દેન ચેતનભાઈ, મુંજાલભાઈ, કમલેશભાઈ પરીખ સાહેબ, and હિરેનભાઈ, all present over here. a very good evening to all of you. And I hope કે કોવિડ જે સિચ્યુએશન છે અમદાવાદમાં તો બહુ ડેન્જરસ છે, પણ નડિયાદ અને આ બાજુ સારી છે અને બધા બહુ આરામથી હશે અને સારી રીતે હશે. Today the topic that we have chosen is very good one and very important as well. In the times to come, this is applicable from 1st of July, the new code of ethics that is applicable from 1st of July. And in the times to come, whenever we are doing audits or any other assurance services, then if there is anything with regards to some complaints or something is there, then only this, if we follow this code of ethics, the proper documentations are there, this will come to our safeguard. So એ બધું કોઈ જાતની આપણને તકલીફ ના પડે આગળ આપણા ઓડિટ્સ ની અંદર અને કોઈ બી એશ્યોરન્સ સર્વિસ ની અંદર, તો આપણે કોડ ઓફ એથિક્સ બહુ જ સારી રીતે આપણને ખબર હોવું જોઈએ. અને ડે બાય ડે જે વસ્તુ છે રેગ્યુલેટર્સ આ તે they are becoming more vigil, more active. So the life ahead will be tough if we do not follow the ethics. However, I always say and I always maintain that ethics is a state of mind. Books માં જે ethics લખેલા છે એ એના કરતા બી stringent છે, but always ethics is a state of mind. આપણે state of mind માં જે આપણે ethical અને moral છીએ તો પછી આપણે એના બીજી કોઈ problem આવતી નથી. Always the alarm will be raised within our mind itself whether what we are doing is ethical or unethical. And if you listen to your heart, the answer will be there, yes, whether we are doing the ethical practices or we are not following the ethics. So today's subject, it is a mandatory, has been done by institute, that 2 hours on code of ethics and 2 hours on the various auditing standards, that is mandatory we have to do. And today the topic that we have done is kept is code of ethics. So with this brief introductory this about the subject, I would like to now share the screen, the presentation, and we'll discuss on the code of ethics. And if there are any question, please feel free to write in the chat box, and I am otherwise also I am available. You can give me a phone call, you can get the answer, absolutely no problem. So now let me share the presentation. Hope I am audible.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. To share views on any topic is always great when we are there in person, face to face, having lot of interactions. To meet the friends from Nadiad and the seniors from Nadiad is always a pleasure. But unfortunately, the situation is like we have not been able to meet for a long time. But the only thing is we have to meet over these virtual mediums now. But whatever the limitations are there, we will try to make best use of the facilities that are available amongst the available challenges. So would have loved to meet you, but we'll take the earliest opportunity whenever I can come to Nadiad and see you all. So now today's topic, code of ethics, we would like to deal with the significant changes that has taken place from the previous one, the departure from the previous code of ethics 2009 and this new code of ethics 2019. So let me share the screen now of the PPT. Yeah, share. So yeah, so can you see the PPT now? Hello, hello, Prakash bhai, hello.
Yes, Vikas bhai, yes.
PPT આવે છે ને?
આવે છે બિલકુલ.
Okay, thank you sir. Yeah. So code of ethics, the significant changes from the earlier 2009 to this code of ethics 2019. Screen sharing has stopped. Just a second again. Yes, screen sharing. Share. Yes. Yeah. Now it's fine. Yes. So code of ethics, earlier, if we talk about the earlier code of ethics, that was effective till 30th of June 2020, and the new code of ethics that is applicable from 1st of July 2020. So earlier code of ethics was divided into 2 parts, part A and part B. Now the new code of ethics is divided into 3 parts, that is volume 1, volume 2 and volume 3. So volume 3 is nothing but the updated relevant disciplinary case laws that are there. So there is a compendium of the case laws, I would say, that is there in the new, this volume 3. Now, Code of Ethics 2009 Part A is again subdivided into 3 portions. That is a chapter 1, 2, and 3, and this is based on the International Federation of Accountants and the International Ethical Standard Board for Accountants. This is based on that. So this is totally the international provisions that have been brought in. And so the subdivision is like, first one is general application of the code. Chapter 2 is professional accountants in public practice. So professional accountants, we must understand, means the chartered accountants in public practice. So those chartered accountants who are in practice, this chapter 2 is applicable. And chapter 3 is professional accountants in service. In ISB, it is called as professional accountants in business, means those who are employed with the business organizations or the corporate world. So we, in our code, we say it as professional accountants in service. So we all understand members in industry and members in practice. So members in practice means professional accountants in public practice. So I will use the word or abbreviation PA for professional accountants in my slides. And then the part 2, that is the part B, that Code of Ethics 2009 part B is based on the Indian domestic provisions that are applicable. So it includes the chapter 4 is accounting and auditing standards, then various extracts or relevant sections from the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, then various council guidelines. These are included in chapter 6. And chapter 7 is again self-regulatory mechanism that is recommended by the council, and the various appendices from A to F. So if we talk about the volume 1, then it is divided into 5 parts, part 1, 2, 3, 4A and 4B. So part 1, this is applicable to all the professional accountants. See, this code is divided in such a way that few of the portions would be applicable only to the chartered accountants in practice, few would be applicable to chartered accountants in service, and few would be applicable in general to both, that is both the chartered accountants in practice as well as in service. So if we talk about the part 1, this is applicable to all professional accountants, may he be in a practice or may he be in a service. So complying with the code, the fundamental principles and the conceptual framework. Then part 2 is professional accountants in service, that is applicable to only members in industry. And part 3 is applicable only to those members who are in practice. So majority of us who are in practice, this part 3 is applicable, and part 1 is otherwise also applicable to all. Then part 4A and 4B, that is international independence standards. So when this part 4A is applicable for the independence for audits and reviews, whenever we are discharging any engagement that is of audit and reviews, then part 4A is applicable. And for any other assignment other than the assurance engagements, other than the audits and reviews, any other assurance engagement, then part 4B is applicable. Then comes volume 2. Volume 2 again, the same thing, the accounting and auditing standards, Chartered Accountants Act 1949, council guidelines for advertisement, and then council guideline 2020, and then self-regulatory measures which are recommended by the council. Yes, volume 3, as I said, all the case laws appearing hitherto under the commentary under Code of Ethics 2009 now shifted to the case law referential. So this includes the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, sections 22, 24, and 27. Then the first schedule, that is part 1 is professional misconduct in relation to CAs in practice. Part 2, professional misconduct in relation to the members of the institute in service. And part 3 is applicable to in relation to members of the institute generally, may he be in a practice or maybe in industry. And then part 4 is other misconduct of the members in general. Second schedule again deals with professional misconduct in relation to chartered accountants in practice. Schedule, there is part 2 in relation to members of the institute generally, and part 3 is in relation to members of the institute generally. So the main difference between the schedule 1 and schedule 2 here is schedule 1 is for those type of offenses which are less serious in nature, and for the schedule 2 would be more serious in nature. Now, if we talk about the first schedule in detail, which is in relation to CA in practice, so there are various points which are provided in the schedule. First one is, it allows, if a CA allows any person to practice in his name as a CA, unless such person is also a CA in practice and is in partnership with him. So friends, if there is a chartered account, if there is a person and you allow him to practice as a CA, to practice in his name as a CA, and unless such person himself is a chartered accountant, then this would be a misconduct. Then the point number 2 is pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission or brokerage in the fee or the profits of the professional business to any person other than a member of the institute or a partner of a retired retired partner or the legal representative of a deceased partner or a member of any other professional body. So what does it mean? If we are sharing our fee with any other person, then this will be tantamounting to the misconduct, professional misconduct. We cannot share our profits or fee in the name of share, commission, brokerage, directly or indirectly or in any other way. So a CA cannot share his fee with maybe a tax consultant, with any other person. That is not allowed. At the most, when you are giving some professional services to such person, you can raise your bill directly in his name, but you cannot share your fee or anything like that. However, there are certain exceptions that has been given. For example, there is a partnership firm, and tomorrow if one of the partner retires, and because of the goodwill, you keep on sharing the profits or share such kind of shares to him, then yes, it is allowed. Or if one of the partner of the firm is deceased and we keep on sharing to his legal heir, yes, then that is allowed. Otherwise, sharing of the fee with the non-members is absolutely not allowed. Then accepts or agrees to accept any part of the profit of the professional work of a person who is not a member of the institute. Similarly, the way we cannot share our profit with the others, the profits of others also we cannot share. So if somebody is there who is earning something and we cannot have a sharing in his this, if suppose for example there is a tax practitioner, you cannot share profit with him. So this is just an example. Then enters into partnership in or outside India with any person other than a CA in practice. So this again would be a professional misconduct. If a CA in India who is in practice, if he enters into a partnership with any person, even in foreign country or in India, but he is not a CA in a practice, then this is a misconduct. Then if CA secure either through the services of a person who is not an employee of such CA or who is not his partner or by means which are not open to a CA. So tomorrow, if a practicing CA, because the schedule is part 1 is applicable to the practicing CAs only, if he solicits work, if he secures work through a non-chartered accountant, then again, and by the means which are not open to a CA, as a CA, he should not like advertise this, that. So if by unfair means, if he is securing any work, then that would tantamount to misconduct. Then if a client solicits if solicits some professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication by or any means, we need to broadly understand one thing, that pull is possible but push is not possible. So if somebody is coming and requesting us for some information, for some quotation, for any our profile, we can share, absolutely no problem. But at our own, we just go and without anybody asking us and we keep on sharing our profiles or we give the quotation for other things, then that would be a professional misconduct. So all such written communications, whenever we are doing, we should be very careful about that. Then the last one in this slide is advertisement is professional attainments or services or uses any designations or expressions other than chartered accountant on professional documents, visiting cards, letterheads or signboards, unless it be a degree of the university. Just like if you are mentioning BCom, MCom or LLB, that is fine. So that is a degree by a university established by law in India or recognized by the central government, or a title indicating the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India or any other institution that has been recognized by the central government or may be recognized by the council like CS, CFA, CS, ICWA, these things that are fine. But other than these, you cannot. So if a PhD, fine, still you can. So you should not advertise your professional attainments or services or use any designations or expressions other than the chartered accountant. So yes, these like BCom and all these degrees which we regularly mention on the card, this is fine, but no such other things which are not recognized should not be there. Then the 8th one, that is he should not accept if he accepts a position as an auditor previously held by another chartered accountant or a certified auditor who has been issued certificate under the restricted certificate rules 1932 without first communicating with him in writing. So this is the maximum cases of disciplinary that we find, that is not obtaining the NOC. whenever one CA is being appointed, his first duty is to get the NOC from the previous auditor. Whenever the NOC is not obtained from the previous auditor, then this is a breach and this amounts to violation. This is a misconduct, professional misconduct. Next part is accepts an appointment as an auditor of a company without first ascertaining from it whether the provision of the company's law has been complied with. So if he has to see before accepting the appointment that the indebtedness criteria, if he is not indebted, or the investment in the shares and of that company, investment of in the shares 1 lakh rupees of the face value, or the loans or such kind of indebtedness, indebtedness of 5 lakh rupees or more, then in such case also he cannot accept the appointment. Then charges or offers to charge, accept or offer to accept in respect of any professional employment fees which are based on a percentage of profit. So we cannot have our audit fees in terms of percentage. For example, tomorrow, if we say that if your turnover is 10 crore, my audit fee would be 1%. So 10 crore into 1%, so 10 lakh rupees would be my audit fee. Or if it is 100 crore, then 1 crore would be my audit fee. No, this cannot be. However, certain exceptions have been made to this, which we will discuss in the next slides to come. In certain cases, just like under IBC or something, some percentage fees are allowed. Otherwise, the fee cannot be based on percentages, or which are contingent upon the findings or results of such employment. So that won't be possible. Then the next one is engages in any business or occupation other than the profession of a chartered accountant unless permitted by the council. For example, I am having a family business, but if I'm a practicing chartered accountant, I cannot participate in my family business. If at all in any other occupation I have to go, I have to seek a permission from the council. And if the council thinks fit that that permission will not affect your profession, on that condition only you get the permission. So being a practicing chartered accountant, we cannot get engaged into any other business or occupation. Then next one is allows a person not being a member of the institute in practice or a member not being his partner to sign on his behalf or on behalf of his firm any balance sheet, profit and loss account or report or financial statement. So we all understand, and nobody does this, that nobody would allow a person who is not a member of the institute in practice or a member not being his partner to sign the balance sheet or any other thing. Then the next part, that is applicable to professional misconduct in relation to CA in service. So pays or allows to agree, pays or allows or agrees to pay directly or indirectly any person, any share in the emoluments of the employment undertaken by him. For example, if one person is appointed as a CFO in the company, he is a CA, he is a member in industry, and he is appointed as a CFO. So he cannot say that I am getting 2 lakh rupees as a salary, so 10% I'll keep on sharing with you. In such scenario, that person will be liable to professional misconduct, though he is not into practice, but he is in service. The next one is accepts or agrees to accept any part of fee, profits or gains from a lawyer, a chartered accountant or a broker engaged by such company, firm or person or agent or customer of such company, firm or person by way of commission or gratification. Suppose one person, he is the CFO of a company, he is at a very this commanding position. So if he appoints some lawyer for the professional work of that company or that organization, or he is giving some work to appointing some chartered accountant or maybe some other broker for some other purpose, then he cannot seek some cut or some commission or something like that. So that would be an unethical behavior which is not acceptable and would be again treated as a professional misconduct. Then part 3, which is applicable to both the members in practice as well as members in service. And these are, first one is not being a fellow of the institute, acts as a fellow of the institute. The other one is he does not supply the information called for or does not comply with the requirements asked for by the institute, council, or by any committees, director discipline, board of discipline, disciplinary committee, quality review board, or the appellate authority. Suppose if a person who is in a practice and he has done the audit of some client, and tomorrow if some information is sought by some appellate authority with regards to that, then he is duty bound, though there is a clause of confidentiality, but sharing the information with the authority is beyond this and very much within the requirement. He has to share the information. He cannot deny on the pretext of the confidentiality that no, this is confidential document and I cannot share, he has to share the documents. And same is the case if a member in industry organization, and tomorrow if any such document is asked for, then he has to give that document. If he do not submit that document, then again this would be a professional misconduct. Next one is, while inviting the professional work from another chartered accountant, or while responding to tenders or inquiries, or while advertising through a write-up or anything provided in terms 6 and 7 of part 1 of the schedule, gives an information which he knows that the information is false. Such against, for example, there is a tender for a CA firm and the requirement in the tender is your turnover must be 10 lakh rupees. And we know that our turnover for that year, concerned year, is 8 lakh rupees. Still, we submit the information that no, my turnover is 10 lakh rupees. So that again, when the requirement of the tender is that your turnover must be 10 lakh rupees, or there may be a request or requirement that you need to have 3 partners in your firm. You know that there are not 3 partners. Still somebody mentions that yes, we do have 3 partners. If any such kind of false informations are being shared, so it again tantamounts to professional misconduct. So the next one is part 4. If he is held guilty by any civil or criminal court for an offense which is punishable with imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months. If any chartered accountant is held guilty and is punished with an imprisonment for a term which is not more than 6 months, then again he is liable, but this should be under Schedule 1. If it is more than 6 months, then it would be under Schedule 2. So more stringent actions would be taken against that chartered accountant. So in the opinion of the council, if he brings disrepute to the profession or the institute as a result of his action, whether or not related to his professional work. So for example, if a chartered accountant, he is traveling by a train and he doesn't buy a ticket. So while traveling from the local train in Mumbai, he has not bought the ticket, and suddenly the TTE quotes him and he says, show me the ticket, and the ticket is not available, whatever the reason may be. And if tomorrow in the newspaper it comes, एक chartered accountant बगैर टिकट सफर करता झड़ पाया. So what does it mean? It means that it brings a bad name that a CA, he's not buying the ticket, he's not following the rules of the society. Or if forget about ticket, the another example may be spitting on the road is prohibited, and if he's spitting and for that he is being fined, and that again appears in the newspaper, that comes in the masses, and again that brings disrepute to the profession, then the institute can take cognizance of such kind of facts, and that again would be other misconduct, because we are the role models, we are the one who needs to exhibit or demonstrate the highest level of ethical conduct. So any such kind of thing which creates a bad name or bring disrepute to the profession, for such kind of actions of a professional also, may it be in a practice or industry or anywhere in general, he can be liable to be a professional misconduct. Then now comes to second schedule. We have already done with the first schedule. Now let us go to the schedule second, and first part is again professional misconduct in relation to the CAs in practice. So we'll deal with this now. Yes, if he discloses information acquired in the course of professional engagement, so this is with regards to confidentiality, whatever information that he come across while conducting the audit or any other such assignment, he is duty bound to maintain the confidentiality of such information. So if he discloses such information acquired in the course of the professional engagement to any person other than his client, so engaging him without the consent of his client, or otherwise as then required by any law for the time being in force. Any law means, like for example, if you have done the audit and tomorrow if income tax authorities, you being the auditor, ask for certain information from you, then yes, you are duty bound to share such information with them. Otherwise than this, if you are divulging the information who are not supposed to know anything about that, maybe tomorrow if some CA is sharing the information with the competitor of the client or any such kind of thing, or unnecessarily he is divulging the information to others who actually are not required to know anything about that, then yes, such kind of things can also be liable to professional misconduct. So we need to train our team as well with all these things, because what happens when we are doing any audit, our team is always engaged over there. So out of the curiosity, sometimes what happens is, suppose for example, if we are doing the audit of the Salman Khan, for example, and tomorrow, out of the excitement and all these, the team members, they would just go and out and say loud that hame to Salman Khan ni audit kari, and in the joyu te joyu this that. So in such kind of situation, though that is being said out of innocence, but yes, still that may be a problematic issue. So suppose we are doing we are a firm established in Anand and Nadiyad, and if there is a big client who is known all over Anand and Gujarat, and tomorrow our articles would go and very proudly say that ame to ani audit upar gaya tha, na karyu na joyu, anu to thai che, this that. So yes, we need to ensure that tomorrow, if such kind of information which is being leaked by our team is in the public domain, or is formally recorded, or gain some information, that yes, the consequences can be very harsh for us, because this is again the second schedule. So this is very, very tough one. Then the next point is certifies or submit in his name or in the name of his firm a report of an examination of financial statement, unless the examination of such statements and the related records has been made by him or by a partner or an employee in his firm or by another chartered accountant in practice. So this meaning is very simple. If our team is performing on some engagement, on some assignment, and if ultimately we discuss with them, we understand the things, and then as a engagement partner, if we are signing on that as a concerned partner, if we are signing, it's fine. But if it is not been done, anything has been done by your firm or any other person whom you retained for your work, and you are also not involved then, and if you are putting your signature, because ultimately you are giving the assurance, and if you yourself are not assured, you have not seen the things, and if you are signing this, then yes, this is definitely, this may invite trouble. The next one is permits his name or the name of his firm to be used in connection with an estimate of earnings contingent upon future transactions in a manner which may lead to the belief that he vouches for the accuracy of the forecast. See, here again, many of us, our client comes to us, ke sahib apne projected balance sheet che ema sign kar do ne. So this is the case of the projected balance sheet. So there is already some engagement standards are there. It is not so that we cannot sign the projected balance sheet. We can sign, but then there are certain protocols which are to be followed. We have to follow SAE 3400 while signing this projected balance sheet. All the points that has been mentioned over there needs to be taken care of, and it can be issued only with that. We have to be very clear in this, that we are not vouching the accuracy of the forecast. This is the data which is there based on certain scientific formulas, facts and figures. We are preparing this, and the data has been provided by the client. So nowhere we should mention that yes, we are vouching the accuracy. So if SAE 3400 is followed, then it's fine. Otherwise it can again be a problematic issue. So whenever we are filing, we are submitting or we are signing any such kind of projected balance sheets or provisional balance sheet, the engagement standards needs to be seen categorically. There can be a separate lecture on this, SAE 3400 and SRE 2400, 2410. So with regards to the attest function of the projected balance sheet and the provisional balance sheet. So that always needs to be taken care of. જ્યારે બી આપણા પાસે હવે next કોઈ provisional balance sheet અથવા તો projected balance sheet માટે sign કરવા આવે, તો એમને ના કરી દેતા, એના માટે આપણે SAE અને SRE જે છે એ તમે ખાસ એ વાંચજો, અને એના પ્રમાણે મારા જોડે presentation છે, that also I will share with you, which we have prepared, and you need to take shelter of that before discharging any such function. It will be great help. Believe me friends, whenever we are doing, I've seen every CA for his client, because maybe 5 clients, 10 clients of ours, they would be needing some loan, and for the purpose of loan they would come to us and they say, સાહેબ તમે જ મારા ઓડિટર છો, એટલે મારી બેલેન્સ શીટ સાઇન કરી આપો ને એને સર્ટિફાઈ કરી આપો. તો અમુક ટાઈમ ઓડિટ ના થઈ હોય, બટ પ્રોવિઝનલ બેલેન્સ શીટ ની જરૂર પડે તો પ્રોવિઝનલ આપવી પડે, અથવા તો એના સાથે સાથે ફોરકાસ્ટેડ બી માંગે છે આ લોકો, પ્રોજેક્શન્સ બી માંગે છે, અને આપણે બિંદાસ, કેમ કે બેંક નું પ્રેશર હોય અને ક્લાયન્ટ છોડીને જતું ના રહે, એટલે આપણે લોકો બિંદાસ એને આપણે સાઇન કરીને એમને સહી સિક્કા કરીને આપી દઈએ. But that cannot be acceptable. We have to be very clear. We need to ensure that the compliance of SAE and SRE is being done. So આ એક ખાસ પોઈન્ટ છે આજના આખા પ્રેઝન્ટેશન માંથી, જેમાં કદાચ બહુ મોટો કેચ આપના બધા માટે થઈ શકે છે. કોન્ફિડેન્શિયલિટી વાળા પોઈન્ટ આપણે જે વાત કરી આ, and the other one is this SAE and SRE. Then the next one is expresses his opinion on financial statements of any business or enterprise in which his firm or a partner in his firm has a substantial interest. આ તો એવું થઈ ગયું કે આપણે જો ફર્મ છે ને એની ઓડિટ આપણે જ કરીએ છીએ. સો મેકર ચેકર ની બી વાત છે. અને અહીંયા આપણે એક સેલ્ફ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ જો થ્રેટ જે છે એ ક્રિએટ થશે. we'll discuss more on these the various type of threats that are there, that we'll discuss on. So self interest threats can always be there. So we need to see that self interest threat kind of thing is not there. તો જ્યારે બી આપણો કોઈ પણ ફાઇનાન્શિયલ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ કોઈ પણ ફર્મ કે ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશન્સ ની અંદર હોય તો એની ઓડિટ આપણે ના કરી શકાય. આપના કોઈ પાર્ટનર નો બી એવો કોઈ સેલ્ફ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ હોય, still we cannot do the audit of such organization. So here the self interest threat would be a biggest threat. Then the next one is fails to disclose a material fact known to him which is not disclosed in a balance sheet, but disclosure of which is necessary in making such financial statements where he is concerned with the financial statement in a professional capacity. So there may be some events occurring after the date of balance sheet or any other event or such kind of things or material facts which are not a part of the balance sheet, but still that are very important for the reading of the financial statement. Carl, for example, you are doing the audit and post 31st of March there is a fire in the factory, so no figures would be there, or there is a substantial loss but no figures would be there in that financial statement about, because that is the post balance sheet period or the post period of the financial statement. But since we have come across such kind of material fact, we need to disclose it appropriately in the financial statements. So that we need to ensure in our audit report, we need to ensure this. If he fails to report a material misstatement known to him appear in a financial statement with which he is concerned in a professional capacity. Suppose some information which he knows is false and which is wrong and still it is mentioned in the financial statement, and if you come across such kind of thing, then you are duty bound to mention that yes, this statement is misstated. Then if one doesn't exercise the due diligence or is grossly negligent in the conduct of his professional duties. When we are doing the audit, we are duty bound to see or exercise due care in conducting the audit. We need to see that the third party verifications, the confirmations, these are there or available or not. So if you are doing the audit without having the third party confirmations and all these, again that is a problem. So that would be a carelessness on our part. So we need to ensure that yes, all due diligence is taken care of, is exercised, and we are not grossly negligent while discharging our professional duties in the conduct of the audit. The next one is, if he fails to obtain sufficient information which is necessary for expression of an opinion, or its exceptions are sufficiently material to negate the expression of an opinion. So some sufficient informations which are necessary, for example, tomorrow some bank reconciliation statement and all these things, bank statements that are to be obtained, some other audit information that are required to be obtained. Without obtaining these things also, if we keep on conducting the audit and doing the audit and still certifies that to be true and fair, so that again would be a problem. Then the next one is, fails to invite attention to any material departure from the generally accepted procedures of audit applicable to the circumstances. So whatever, so for example, now if you are doing the audit, then we have to mention our FRN, we have to mention our membership number, we have to generate UDIN. If we are doing the audit for a listed company, then we need to know that we are a peer reviewed firm. If we are not peer reviewed, we cannot do the audit of a listed entity. So all these things are generally accepted procedures which we need to know. So if we are doing an audit of a listed company and we are not peer reviewed, it means we are inviting the professional misconduct on our part. Next one is, he fails to keep monies of his client other than fee or remuneration, or monies meant to be expended in a separate banking account, or to use such money for purpose for which they are intended within a reasonable time. So what happens many a times, some taxes are to be paid on behalf of the client, and he pays that amount to you for payment of tax. He says ki Vikas bhai tame tax payment kar dejo. If he is giving me that 1 lakh rupees for the payment of tax, and mare tax ni due date 30th September mare bharwana છે અને મને એને પૈસા 10મી સેપ્ટેમ્બરે આપી દીધા. So it doesn't mean that I will use that money for some other purpose. So the purpose for which it has been given, that should be used for that particular purpose. So even if a person is there, so that will come the next the schedule also in relation to the members of the institute generally. So contraventions any of the provisions of this act or the regulations made there under, or any guidelines issued by the council. So આપણે સીએ એક્ટ ની અંદર કોઈ બી રેગ્યુલેશન્સ ની અંદર કોઈ બી જે પ્રોવિઝન્સ લેટ ડાઉન છે એનો આપણે કોઈ બી વાયોલેશન થાય તો then again it is applicable to both the members in the practice as well as the members in the industry. So all the members it is applicable. The second is being an employee of any company, firm or a person discloses confidential information. જે પહેલા શેડ્યુલમાં આપણે જે જોઈ એ હતું members in practice. હવે આ members in industry માં હોય અને એ બી કોઈ confidential information leak કરે. Suppose a person is there in a listed company and because of his information there may be some insider trading that may take place in the shares. ઘણી information એવી હોય કે રિઝલ્ટ આવવાના છે કંપનીના કાલે અને રિઝલ્ટ ની અંદર શેર્સ ના ભાવ બહુ રિઝલ્ટ બહુ સારો આવે છે એટલે શેર્સ ના ભાવ બહુ વધી જાય, અથવા તો રિઝલ્ટ બહુ ખરાબ આવે છે એટલે શેર્સ ના ભાવ તૂટી જાય. અને આ જે પીરિયડ હોય when the reports are being finalized and finally the reports are published in the newspaper, there is always a gap of some days in between that. So such kind of information if is being leaked by the employee of that company and he's a chartered accountant, then this again is a professional misconduct. So SEBI will take the action, that is separate thing. Our institute will also take action against this. Next comes includes in any information, statement, return or form or to be submitted to the ICAI, council or any of its committees, director discipline, board of discipline, same like above it was. And the information which he knows that this information is false, yet he submits it to the authorities, then again this would be a problem. This would be a breach of the this would be a misconduct, professional misconduct. Then the last one in this part 2 is defalcates or embezzles money received in his professional capacity. For example, one person is a CFO in a company અને એ માણસને અમદાવાદ થી મુંબઈ જઈને કોઈ કામ કરવાનું છે એના માટે કંપની એને પૈસા આપે છે and if he actual ખર્ચો એનો 50,000 નો જ હોય અને બતાવે 80,000 રૂપિયાના ખર્ચો થયો, or such kind of instances that may take place. So that again would be tantamounting to a professional misconduct. So other misconduct in relation to the members of the institute, it is held guilty by any civil or criminal court for an offense which is punishable with imprisonment for a term exceeding 6 months. For example, કોઈએ કોઈનો મર્ડર કરવાનો ટ્રાય કર્યો અને એની અંદર 302 ની અંદર કોઈ એને સજા થઈ અને that is maybe 7 years, then that is a serious misconduct and your this membership may go away for the lifetime also. Now we will discuss with some of the important substantive changes. Here I'd like to bring to your notice this is a main છે ને 5 changes એમાં suggest કર્યા હતા. Code of Ethics 2019, Code of Ethics 2019, but out of these 5, 3 changes have been dropped or postponed, I would say, because yesterday only the council has decided that responding to NOCLAR, then restrictions on the taxation services and the restriction on the fee from audit client, these 3 are being deferred in view of the COVID and they will be made applicable at later date. So my presentation covers at length about all these provisions, but I'll discuss the basics about this and then we'll skip the most of the things because for the time being it is not applicable. But yes, still I'll try to give an idea about what this means. So friends, if we talk about the earlier Code of Ethics 2009, there was no provision for NOCLAR. There is nothing. NOCLAR નામનું કોઈ વસ્તુ હતી જ નહીં આપણા જે ઓલ્ડ જે જૂના Code of Ethics 2009 ની અંદર. But now responding to non-compliance of laws and regulations. So if we are doing a tax audit under income tax, but there may be so many other things that are taking place and we have to report about the other laws as well. So how about the other laws? For example, we are doing the tax audit and or a company's audit, statutory audit, and if we come to know that there are certain some insider tradings or fluctuations in the prices or that are because of this particular thing, then we are duty bound to intimate to the SEBI that such kind of thing that has taken place, or if there is some bribery or corruption that has taken place that is evident that yes, this was done. So we need to inform to the appropriate authority that is done. Otherwise, in a routine audit, this may not be covered, but still now is a onus that has been casted upon us to inform the non-compliance of the other laws and regulations. So this becomes the scope of the audit becomes very wide and vast now. because of this, but for the time being it has been postponed. But yes, still we need to ensure the compliances of this. We need to see, because though today it might have been postponed, but very soon it will come. This is only because the COVID that yes, we people are not that equipped or struggling with the resources and all these things. Taking in view all these things, this has been postponed rather, but very soon it may again come into the picture. The next one is restriction on taxation services to the audit clients. All these things I have a detailed slides again after this, but let us understand this, that today when we are doing the tax audit, we are also representing certain client in our CIT appeals or scrutiny cases and all these things. So some restrictions are being brought in for that as well. Next one is prohibition on the management responsibilities to the audit clients. So otherwise also under the Companies Act, we all know that there is a restriction on the management responsibilities to the audit clients, but that was applicable only to the companies, and no such provision were there in the Code of Ethics 2009. Now the Code of Ethics 2019 very categorically brings in the restrictions and a differentiation between the administrative services and management services or management responsibilities. Those administrative services we can very well still offer to our clients, but yes, management responsibilities we cannot. So this is not only with respect to the companies, but to all other entities whom we are giving the audit or other assurance functions that we are doing for them. So this includes, like for example, otherwise also maker checker concept bookkeeping. If you are doing the big bookkeeping of particular client, then we cannot do the audit function for that. So in management responsibilities, so many these things are already mentioned, so we need to take care of that. So this is not only applicable to the companies, but is also applicable to all other clients. So earlier in the Code of Ethics 2009, a recommendatory 40% restriction on fee from an audit client. So if we are receiving a fee of a total fee, 40% of the fee is being received from an audit client. So this not necessarily means only audit fee. Total fee that is being received from one audit client, and that is 40% or more of our total fee, then that was a violation, or then it was required to be informed to the or communicated to those who are charged with the governance. Now this 40% is being brought down to 15% restriction on fees from single client, only if it is consecutively for 2 years. For 1 year it is fine, but if it is for 2 consecutive years, then we need to communicate to those who are there to charge with the governance. So if such is the case, then we need to, but then this again has been postponed for the time being. So okay, but when it comes, we need to see, but this would be creating some more threats. So institute is seriously reviewing this, that this provision may get replaced by some different provisions, and we will see that in the times to come. Then the last one is the duty of accountant in case of unintentional breach of independence standards. So this independence, this is not one time thing. This is for on a continuing basis also we need to see and we need to ensure. So if there is a breach on that independence standards post accepting the engagement, again we need to do inform, and we need to see that whether the threats that are there that can be eliminated. If the threats cannot be eliminated, then we have to even withdraw from the engagement. Yes. Now earlier in the Code of Ethics 2009, there are some from that Code of Ethics 2009 and to Code of Ethics 2019, some important structural changes also have been laid down. So we'll discuss now on the structural changes. Independence for the assurance engagement. It was earlier independence for the assurance engagement was there. Now this is for all kind of this independence requirement for audit and review engagements, and other assurance engagements are now differentiated, and this is clearly mentioned. Earlier in the earlier this no characterization as standards was done, but now independence sections recharacterized as international independence standards. We all this will discuss in detail in the next slide. Then if you talk about the Code of Ethics 2009, it was use of should. Now in place of should, they have used the word shall. So when we talk about should, this is a kind of recommendatory, but shall becomes mandatory. So it is a compulsion on the chartered accountant to follow this. Then some restructuring of sections and all these were not there in the earlier Code of Ethics, but now new pattern has been prescribed, and in the new pattern in any section, first is the introduction part is there, then what is the requirement of the section. So what is the requirement means all what related questions that needs to be answered, what is there, and application. Then application is what we are doing to address that. So how that the process that needs to be. So application is also there. So any section is now divided into introduction, requirement, and then application. And the next one is lack of clarity for each entity. Earlier there was a lack of clarity for the various entities, and now a great clarity has been imparted for the responsibility for compliance for the firms, network firms, or individuals within the firms, that is even the team members. Then the next is about professional accountant. As I said earlier, professional accountant means chartered accountant. So the term professional accountant, from where we have borrowed this term, that professional accountant is used in ISBA Code of Ethics. So the same word has been provided in the or adopted in the Code of Ethics edition 2009, and even in the Code of Ethics 2019 we are continuing with the same word. So somebody when says professional accountant, we need to understand that this is for the chartered accountant. As defined in Code of Ethics, professional accountant is an individual who is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So whenever we talk about the professional accountant, invariably we must understand that he is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Then as stated in the ISBA Code of Ethics, professional accountant in business, there it is mentioned professional accountants in business, and in our code we mention it as professional accountants in service. The next slide is the conceptual framework, the various threats and safeguards. So whenever we are accepting any engagement, any assignment, first we need to see that whether any threat that exists. Threat, what kind of threat? Threat means whether our independence would be impaired because of the any threat that exists, that we need to see. So first we need to see and identify the threats that are there to compliance with the fundamental principles. So if there is any threat, first that needs to be identified. Once we have identified the threat, then we need to evaluate the threats. Okay, what is the intensity of that threat? Whether there is a higher risk is there, lower risk is there, or moderate risk is there, or there is no risk. All such kind of things needs to be seen. And once that threat has been evaluated, the next step would be to address the threats by eliminating or reducing them to an acceptable level. If we can eliminate the threat, then it is best thing. If the threat cannot be eliminated, but yet still it can be reduced to an acceptable level, fine. If it cannot be reduced to acceptable levels, then we have to reject that assignment or engagement. And even in case of ongoing or continuing assignment, if any threat comes up, and if we cannot eliminate or reduce that threat to an acceptable level, then we have to withdraw from the ongoing or the existing engagement. Then when applying the conceptual framework, the professional accountant shall do following things. First, he should exercise the professional judgment. So always the professional judgment, that is a main this thing that should always be exercised. Then remain alert for new information and to changes in facts and circumstances. As I said, if we have accepted already certain assignment, but there are some developments, there are some changes, some information comes to us, we should keep ourselves updated about our clients, and then use the reasonable and informed third party test. So we'll discuss all these things. So the various threats that needs to be identified, evaluated, and addressed. So these major threats that has been given are, one is self-interest threat. We all understand that the maker-checker kind of concept, or that also needs to be taken. Apart from the self-interest threat is if we are having a business in which we are interested, if we are having some stake in that business, so we are going to be biased or prejudiced towards that. So we would always be influenced by the various things. So we cannot do the audit of such entities where we are in having some certain interest. So we need to see that if we are having an interest or our partner is having interest in any entity or organization, then the audit of such kind of or assurance services of such kind of entities cannot be accepted. So the another one is the self-review threat that I said, ki maker checker and that kind of thing. So if we have prepared one thing and we are reviewing the same thing, then the self-review threat comes. So we are reviewing our own work. So that again is not permissible. Next is advocacy threats. For example, if we are auditor of a client, and for him we are representing in the various litigations in before the ITAT or CIT, then this creates the advocacy threats, and this should not be there. Then comes familiarity threat. Familiarity threat doesn't necessarily mean the family of the auditee, but if we are doing the audit of or any assignment for any particular client for so many years, maybe 10 years, 15 years, then there is a tendency, human tendency, that bonding or this closeness would get developed, and we would be knowing each and everything about the client and all these things. So in this case, our independence may get affected, and we may not be able to report freely or in an independent way. So such kind of familiarity threats are also needs to be addressed. And the last but not the least one is the intimidation threat. Intimidation threat means tomorrow, for example, our client is, for example, is a very influential person. He is some big powerhouse, and he's in a position to ensure that we report as per his whims and fancies, as per his comfort. Then if such kind of threats are there that we cannot remain unaffected from the our audit client, then in such cases also we need to see that the threat is brought down to the acceptable level, or else we need to reject that assignment. So various safeguards are also prescribed to counter such kind of threats, and the prescribed safeguards are: one is the education, training, and experience. So this is not only for the chartered accountants, but all the members of the audit team and the engagement team. We need to see that they are proper, they are appropriately educated, the regular training are imparted to them, and they are sufficiently experienced. If we are sending our team for an audit of some big size corporate, so we need to see that the commensurate experience is there with our team. For example, if we are sending some novice, then he won't be able to do any justice with that. So these are the safeguards. We need to see what is the level of the technical or this requirement is there, and accordingly commensurate experience, the trained staff and all these things, and wherever required is on ongoing basis, we should keep on giving them education, various trainings and all these, and whatever the proper mix of experience that is required for that particular assignment, that should always be taken care of. Then the next thing is continuous professional education, and that is the reason we people are here today. You are listening to me, and I am sharing it with you because there is a continuous professional education. So this is not only with regards to this, but for any assignment, whenever we are as a professional we act, we need to continuously upgrade ourselves. And when here it is said continuous professional education, it is not for the chartered accountants alone, but for all the team members. We need to ensure, maybe we would be having some in-house seminars, workshops, and all these things, training sessions for our team. That is very important. And then the corporate governance, the culture in the systems and in the team, in the organization, these are very important. We need to ensure that the good corporate governance and good corporate practices are always adopted in the firm. Then the professional standards we need to maintain. We have to be in a very diligent and professional manner. Then the next one is regulatory monitoring and disciplinary mechanism. We need to ensure that the things are being maintained in a best possible way. All the regulatory monitoring and disciplinary things are always being done. Then external review wherever possible or required. Whenever we are doing an audit of a big size firm or something like a big size company, and we think that yes, this may be a risky bet or something, we need to, or just to have an additional safeguard if you wish, that some external review processes may be laid down. So we can always hire another chartered accountant from another firm. We can engage him and we can say that we have already done this. Please, if you can have external review for us, and such kind of assignments can always be done. Then this slide we have already earlier discussed, that we need to identify the threat, then we need to evaluate the threat, and then we need to apply the appropriate safeguards. Once the safeguards are applied, we need to see that whether we have been able to reduce the threat. If the threats have been reduced to the acceptable level, yes, we can accept the assignment. But if it is not possible to reduce the threat, or even if we have reduced the threat but not been able to bring them to the acceptable level, then we need to say no to such kind of assignments. We have to reject the assignments, and in case of ongoing assignments, we have to withdraw from such kind of assignments. Then in the Code of Ethics 2009, safeguard to be considered for threats other than clearly insignificant. What is mentioned in the Code of Ethics 2009 is safeguards to be considered for the threats other than the clearly insignificant. So if there is something which is clearly insignificant, leave it. For all others, you need to apply the safeguards. However, in the Code of Ethics 2009, the change is what they mentioned is the application of safeguards is required to eliminate threats or to reduce them to an acceptable level. So for all assignments, we need to see this. Now, what is the fundamental principles? The fundamental principles we all know, we have read in our CA finals and all these things. The fundamental principles are these 5 principles, and the main objective of all these fundamental principles is ultimately to reach or to attain the independence. So these 5 fundamental principles are: first is integrity, then comes objectivity, then comes professional competence and due care, the next one is confidentiality, and last but not the least is the professional behavior. So we will discuss on all these things also in the detail in the next few slides. So what is integrity? What is objectivity? Undoubtedly, it need not be said to any chartered accountant. All knows what is integrity, what is objectivity. But whatever that has been laid down in the code, I would like to share that with you all. Integrity. Integrity is nothing but it implies fair dealing and truthfulness. We should be honest. We should be straightforward. And that is what integrity is all about. This requires an accountant to be straightforward and honest in all professional and business relationship. So whatever, it should be all upfront, it should be direct, it should be honestly shared with the this business or our clients. And the next one is then objectivity. Objectivity implies independent from subjectivity caused by the perception of bias. For example, tomorrow there is something with our client, there is some dispute or something, and because of that particular dispute, still if you are carrying on with the audit, there may be a bias. Kya client to out. So if such kind of biases are there in your mind, then you cannot remain independent. You cannot be you will not be able to do justice with the audit maybe. So apne khunnas mind in koi audit kariye na na chale. So we have to see that objectivity is very important, and there should not be any bias or prejudice or any other kind of thing. So this requires an accountant to not to compromise the professional or business judgment, because of if there is any of the kind of bias or conflict or interest or undue influence or any other things is there. So objectivity cannot be impaired at any cost. So integrity, objectivity, and the other one is professional competence and due care. So professional competence, yes, we all understand that not only the chartered accountancy firm, the partner, entire team must be professionally competent enough to discharge the duty that they have been casted upon. So professional competence and due care implies capability to perform skillfully and act diligently. So we need to ensure before accepting any assignment that are we having the appropriate skills, professional skills. For example, if we are a firm of chartered accountants with 2 partners, so one is expert in direct taxation and another is expert in statutory audits. But if there is a GST audit, so are we having enough resources? Are we skillful enough to perform the audit, GST audit? We need to ensure, we need to see, or we need to bring in the resources. Or if from our existing resources, we need to update them so as to make them capable of doing all this. So we need to ensure this, that yes, professional competency of our team is there or not to perform that particular function. If it is not there, we should take enough cautions to not to accept such kind of assignment or to bring in the resources. So we need to ensure, I won't say that we need not accept the assignments. I must say that we need to ensure that yes, we bring in enough professional competence in our team, and we also simultaneously need to act very diligently. So this requires an accountant. Accountant means a chartered accountant to attain and maintain the professional knowledge and skill at the level required to ensure that a client or employing organization receives competent professional services. There should not be any lacuna or deficiency in the services that we are providing. Tomorrow he must not go and outside and say कि हमारा CA तो एवा है, हमने तो कोई खबर नहीं पड़ती, शू करे छे, या करे छे, ते करे छे. This is going to happen when we are not having the professional competence within our organization, and still we are accepting the assignments and doing the things. So this we need to be very much careful and diligent, and the professional standards and the technical standards needs to be taken care of. Then the next one is confidentiality. This again, as I said, is a essence of all these 5 are the essence: integrity, objectivity, then the professional skills and due care, professional competence and due care, and then the next one is confidentiality. Confidentiality, we have discussed a lot on this in our earlier slides, but the only thing is confidentiality implies the state of being respectful and responsible for the confidential information acquired as a result of professional and employment relationships. So whatever the information that are not there in the public domain, but you have come across such kind of information only and only because you are the auditor of that particular organization. So such kind of information should not be shared with outsiders or with any other who is not required to or is not needed to know anything on this. So it is only on need base, and because of the statutory requirement or something, if you are required to share, or only at the instance of the client himself, if there is such kind of thing, then it's fine. Otherwise, the confidentiality is to be maintained at any cost. So this requires an accountant, that is a CA, to be alert to the possibility of inadvertent disclosure of the confidential information and maintain confidentiality of the information unless, as I said, there is a legal or professional duty or there is a right to disclose. So he need to ensure that his team ensures, not only he, but his team should also ensure the highest level of confidentiality. The next one is again very, very important. That is professional behavior. Professional behavior implies fair conduct according to the relevant laws and regulations. So our behavior should be very much professional. We should not only be professional, but our conduct and behavior must appear to be professional. That is very, very important. So this requires a chartered accountant to not to engage in any employment, occupation, or activity that impairs or might impair the integrity, objectivity, or good reputation of the profession, and as a result would be incompatible with the fundamental principles. So if we are able to maintain all these 5 fundamental principles, then only we can achieve the independence. Otherwise, independence will be hampered. Now there are independence standards that has been set out in the Code of Ethics 2009. So independence standards set out the requirements and application material on how to apply the conceptual framework to maintain independence when performing audits, reviews, or other assurance engagements. So this provides the requirement. As I said, in that there is a requirement is there, there is application is there. In every section it has been mentioned. After the introduction it has been mentioned what is the requirement and how these are to be addressed, what are the applications that are to be taken care of. So this is there. And the professional accountant in public practice means we people that are the CA in practice are required by the independence standards to be independent when performing audit, reviews, or other assurance engagements. So this one word independence is most important whenever we are conducting any audit function or review or such kind of assurance engagements. Then we need to ensure that the state of our independence should not get disturbed. That should always be there. Until unless we are independent, we cannot do our audit function or our functions as a professional honestly and independently. So the state of mind that permits the expression of a conclusion without being affected by influences that compromise the professional judgment, thereby allowing an individual to act with integrity and exercise objectivity and professional skepticism. So these things are all very important for the independence of mind. So these are integrity, as we have already discussed, objectivity is there. So professional competence is undoubtedly there, professional behavior is there, and the new word that has come over here is professional skepticism. We all have appeared for our CA exams and we all understand and remember that આપના CA exam માં કોઈ question આવે અને આપણને લાગે તો બહુ easy છે. The second thought immediately that comes to our mind is यार આ તો CA છે એટલું easy તો ના થાય, એની અંદર કંઈક ના કંઈક તો હશે. So same way, whenever we are doing the audit of a client, that professional skepticism always needs to be there. We need to have that, we need to be that skeptical कि એની અંદર કંઈક તો હશે. So it is કંઈક તો હશે એનો મતલબ આ નથી કે આપણે એના ઉપર આપણે we are having some kind of doubt or something, but it means that we always try to investigate into that, we try to find out the things into that અને આપણે એને સારી રીતે જોઈએ, એની અંદર કંઈક તો હશે. So once you have satisfied yourself, yes, there is nothing, this is in order, then you move ahead, fine. But at least that professional skepticism should always be there. Otherwise what happens when you are doing audit for 7 years, 10 years and you see that આ માણસનું કામ તો એકદમ પરફેક્ટ છે, એનો પરફેક્ટ જ હોય છે કાયમ. So what happens, that professional skepticism goes away and you think that yes, Mr. X, he has been doing this work for years, so એના કામમાં તો કોઈ મિસ્ટેક થાય જ નહીં અને તમે એના કામને છોડી દો અને તમે બીજી વસ્તુ જોવા માંડો. So what happens, જેમાં આપણે વિચારીએ કે એના કામમાં તો કઈ ભૂલ થાય જ નહીં, એના જ કામમાં ભૂલ નીકળે. So that professional skepticism should always be there. પણ એટલું ધ્યાન રાખજો, આ professional skepticism છે ને ઓફિસમાં રાખો બરોબર છે, પણ ઘરે ના રાખતા. So that may bring problem to you. So professional skepticism is good, but in office. Then independence is a state of mind. We should not only be independent, but we should always appear to be independent. એવું થાય ને આપણે ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્ટ તો છીએ પણ આપણો ક્લાયન્ટ એક સારો મિત્ર બની જાય અને આપણે એને સાથે ફરીએ છીએ નાતે કરીએ છીએ. તમે ખબર પડે કે કાલે ફોરેન સાથે ફરવા ગયા તો લોકોને એવું લાગે તો so that undoubtedly your the appearance, the independence would be hampered over here. So we need to take care of such kind of things. So the avoidance of facts and circumstances. So foreign traveling is a circumstance over here that are so significant that a reasonable and informed third party would be like to conclude that a firm's or an audit or assurance team members integrity, objectivity or professional skepticism has been compromised. So your acts or conduct should not be of such kind whereby the other party or the third party may always think that yes, here the professional skepticism or the integrity or the objectivity has been compromised. So that also we need to take care of. So now those important changes which we said, we discussed few minutes back, what is NOCLAR, and I've already said that NOCLAR has for the time being been postponed. But what is NOCLAR? I would like to deal upon this. So what is NOCLAR? It refers to any act of omission or commission. आपने જ્યારે ऑडिट करता होइए અને જ્યારે આપણે જોઈએ તો refers to any act of omission or commission committed by a client or employer contrary to prevailing laws or regulation. જ્યારે આપણે ऑडिट करता હોઈએ ને આપણે during the audit if we come across some act of omission કે જે વસ્તુ કરવી જોઈતી હતી પણ ના થઈ, or something which has been done commission but which should not have been done, then such kind of things if we come across which are in violation with the prevailing laws or regulation, then this is NOCLAR. That is the non-compliance of other laws and regulations. And why NOCLAR? So the PA means आपने समझ लो CA in practice may face difficulties in recognizing such situation, and since he has a prima facie ethical responsibility to not to turn a blind eye to the matters provisions regarding NOCLAR was introduced to help the PA in dealing with the situation and deciding how best to serve the public interest in these circumstances. જ્યારે પેલા NOCLAR હતું જ નહીં તો એવી કોઈ બી પરિસ્થિતિ આવે તો ઘણી વખત આપણે એને બ્લાઇન્ડ આઈ કરી દઈએ અને આપણને જોઈએ જ નહીં અને આગળ વધી જતા હતા. So now a responsibility has been casted upon us so that you cannot turn a blind eye. At least you need to see what is happening, what wrong has happened, or what should not have happened has happened, or what was supposed to be happened but has not happened. If such kind of thing, any omission or commission is there, we need to ensure, and if required, then we have to report to the appropriate authorities. But the relief was, it is applicable only to the listed entities, and not only listed entities, but only limited to the audit assignments of the listed entities. So and it is applicable not only to the members in practice but also to the members in industry. Suppose if a professional accountant, that a chartered accountant, he is in service and he is in a company, he is serving in a corporate, and he is doing something wrong on his front or on his part, some act of omission or commission has taken place, then he is also liable for such kind of things. But the only relief for the time being is that NOCLAR is not applicable and is postponed for the time being. Then NOCLAR is a part of Code of Ethics, section 260, members in service. Section 260 deals with members in service, and 360 it deals with members in practice. And laws and regulations that have a nexus to the professional accountant, public accountants, professional training and expertise. That is, first thing is laws and regulations that have a direct effect on the determination of material amounts and disclosure in the financial statement. कोई एवो law होय જેનો કે material impact આવતો હોય અને ફરક પડતો હોય financial statement માં, એ બી હોઈ શકે. Other laws and regulations compliance with which may be fundamental to the entity's business and operationals or to avoid material penalties. For example, in a financial matter નથી પણ એને waste નો જે treatment હોય એ treatment કરવાનો હોય, but still if he is not discharging that waste in the way it should be done so as to protect the environment, so still he is liable. તો એ બી information હોય એ pollution control board ને આપણને inform કરવું પડે આ ટાઈપની વસ્તુ. So એમાં various examples that has been given in the code that includes fraud, corruption, bribery, money laundering, terrorist financing. હવે કોઈ જગ્યાએથી કોઈ પૈસા આયા હોય બુક્સ ની અંદર અને બીજી જગ્યાએ જતા હોય, આયા અને ગયા, પણ એ ક્યાંથી આયા, શું થયા, કા પૈસા આયા, કોઈ proceeds of crime તો નથી. We also need to ensure this. Then as I said, there's a gap between the publishing of the results and the preparation of the results, and in between the period there may be some leakage of the confidentiality may be there of the insider information, and resultantly there may be insider trading in the share market. So that may be there. So we need to inform SEBI, some banking and other financial products and services, some data protection. Data is the future oil for the world. Then tax and pension liabilities and payments. Then environment protection, just we discussed, public health and safety. So all these things, these are there. So following matters are not in the scope of NOCLAR. Matters clearly inconsequential or personal misconduct unrelated to the business activities of the client or employer. So we as an auditor are not required to report on the personal misconducted, which is not related to the business activities of the client. For example, કાલે આપણો એક client છે અને એ બહાર જતા હોય અને ટ્રાફિક નો સિગ્નલ તોડી નાખે અને we are aware of that he has done that, he has jumped the traffic signal, but એ આપણે ઓડિટ રિપોર્ટ ની અંદર રિપોર્ટ કરવાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી. So this is out of, though it is a breach of this, but this has been a personal misconduct on his front and we are least concerned with that, right? But if it is something with regards to the organization, then yes, we need to be very serious about that, and that is covered under the purview of the NOCLAR. Non-compliance other than by the client or employer, or those હવે client બી નથી અને employer નો client બી નથી અને employer બી નથી, but કોઈ બહારનો કોઈ માણસ કરતો હોય, or those charged with the governance, management or other individuals working for or under the direction or of the client of the employer, તો બી આપણને એનો કોઈ એ નથી. Then when public accountant or when the professional accountant is required to address NOCLAR, only when and if he encounters the same in the course of providing a professional service. જ્યારે આપણે આપણું કામ કરતા હોઈએ અને એ ટાઈમે જ્યારે આવે કોઈ એવો આપણે we come across such kind of information, then only we have to address this NOCLAR. Appropriate authority જે હોય એને આપણને રિપોર્ટ કરવી પડે. જે ઇનસાઇડર ટ્રેડિંગ હોય તો સેબી ને આપણને રિપોર્ટ કરવાનું. હવે આપણે ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સ સ્ટેન્ડર્ડ્સ ની આપણે વાત કરીએ ઓવરવ્યુ નું, તો કોડ ઓફ એથિક્સ 2009 જે હતું એની અંદર સેક્શન 290 that is the independence assurance engagement કરીને હતા, but code of ethics 2019 એની અંદર વોલ્યુમ 1 ની અંદર બે પાર્ટ્સ માં એને ડિફરન્શિએટ કરી દીધું છે. પાર્ટ 4A that is the independence for audit and review engagements, અને પાર્ટ 4B જે છે એની અંદર independence for assurance engagements other than audit and review. So these are most bulky changes. There's a number of similar provisions, compliances are common to both part 4A and 4B, but given separately in the code under both the parts. જે mostly જે changes છે 4A and 4B એ same જ છે almost. Now let us go to the next slide. Independence standards part 4A and 4B એમાં શું covered છે જે અત્યારે આપણે previous slide માં what we have seen is, first one is fee, second is compensation and evaluation policies, gifts and hospitalities, actual or threatened litigations. જો આપણે કોઈ બીજા સાથે આપણે fee sharing આ તે ના થાય એ બધી વસ્તુ આપણે ધ્યાન રાખવાનું. The next comes is compensation and evaluation policies. So this is all about your team. When we are having our team, we have to see that how we are giving them the compensation. Compensation means the salaries, the remunerations that we are giving our team. આ લોકોનો performance appraisal આપણે કેવી રીતે કરીએ? એવું તો નથી કે તમે ભૂલ કાઢો તો જ તમારો performance appraisal થાય, તો જ તમને promote કરે. So we need to ensure, બીજું જે માણસની જે capabilities છે એ પ્રમાણે એને remunerate થાય છે કે નથી થતું. So all these things we need to have a documented policy that our team members are compensated and appropriately they are compensated, and their performance appraisals and all other evaluations, we do have a policy in place for that. Third is gifts and hospitality. Whether we are receiving any gifts or any hospitality from our client, that also needs to be seen. આજે આપણો કોઈ client છે અને because of some good things or some good news at his house or in his business, if he is sending you some box of sweet, fine, that won't impact our independence. But if he is sending you 10 grams gold coin, certainly it would impact the independence. So we need to see case to case basis which gifts we can accept and which gifts we cannot accept. So if it is a gift, as I said, box of sweet, fine enough, koi problem nathi thati. So અને આપણે hospitality bhi we need to ensure and we need to see. Then actual or threatened litigation, we need to ensure that આપણું જે client છે એના સામે આપણા કોઈ litigation ચાલી રહ્યા છે. Maybe the client with whom we are working, he has not paid the fee for 2 years, and if you have filed something against him, it means there is already a litigation, or you have threatened him to litigate, to take him to some litigation. Then such kind of things are certainly bound to impair your independence. So this will disturb the independence, and we cannot continue with the audit of such kind of clients. Then the financial interest we need. Then the next one is recent services with an audit client. If we are having an audit client and in the recent past, if we have acted as a director of the company or we have something done in the past, then that also needs to be, because we have worked with him, we have been in employment with him for the past few years. then certainly there are chances that the independence may get hurt. Then if you're continuing in the recent time also, in the continuous this period also, if you are serving as a director or officer of an audit client, then also it is not possible for us to accept such kind of this. Then employment with an audit client, this again would be hurting the independence. And the last one is temporary personal assignments. If some of his temporary personal assignments that has been given to us, then also we need to see, yes, whether that is hurting our independence or not, we need to see that. Then financial interest, if in the audit, if we are having any financial interest, for example, એના જ business ની અંદર આપણે invest કરીને રાખ્યું છે, so that would be a self interest threat. So કોઈ બી financial interest હોય કોઈની અંદર, તો આપણે એની સાથે આપણે કામ, એની audit કે એ બધા engagement આપણે ના લઈ શકીએ. Loans and guarantees, if we have accepted some loans or something from the client, then we cannot remain independent and we cannot do it. And in fact, in the this Companies Act also there is a indebtedness, and in this ownership of shares and all these investments of shares that has been mentioned. So now it is not only applicable to the corporate client, even for the partnership or any other individual proprietorship, whatever it is, such kind of things also needs to be seen. Then the business relationships, આપણે એના સાથે કોઈ business relationship થતી હોય આપણા client સાથે, તો still the independence may get hurt. But we need to see one thing, કે આજે આપણે કારુટને સ્પાઇસ જેટના આપણા ઓડિટર છીએ અને આપણે સ્પાઇસ જેટની ફ્લાઇટ આપણે યુઝ કરતા હોઈએ છીએ, એનો મતલબ આ નથી કે આપણે એના બિઝનેસ રિલેશનશિપ થઈ ગયું. That is, you are not gaining any extra benefit or extra advantage. આપણે કોઈ શોપની ઓડિટ કરતા, કોઈ શોરૂમની ઓડિટ કરતા હોઈએ અને આપણે ઘરના કાપડ આપણે ત્યાંથી જ બધા લાવતા હોઈએ, એનો મતલબ આ નથી કે there is a business relationship and that is being hampered. So we need to ensure such kind of things which may be construed as business relationship. Then the family and personal relationship, તમારો કોઈ રિલેટિવ હોય કે કોઈ આ હોય, તો એની ઓડિટ એક્સેપ્ટ કરતા પહેલા બી આપણે એ બધી વસ્તુઓ વિચારવું પડે. એને બી subsequently it has been dealt with in the next slides. Then the long association of personnel with the audit client. So if we are having a long association with the audit client, then the things become difficult. આપણે હવે કોઈ 10 વર્ષથી આપણે કોઈની ઓડિટ કરતા હોઈએ, 15 વર્ષથી આપણે કોઈની ઓડિટ કરતા હોઈએ, તો આપણે એક રિલેશન્સ એવો ડેવલપ થઈ જાય, ક્લાયન્ટ સાથે ક્લોઝનેસ થઈ જાય, so there is always a chance of the independence being hurt. So that also needs to be seen. Now auditor rotation, આજે Companies Act ની અંદર આજે પોલિસી છે આ લાયા આ લોકો auditor rotation ની, that was not there in any other this. Now Code of Ethics 2019, this categorically provides for auditor rotation also. After 7 years the auditor needs to be compulsorily retired. That particular the auditor engagement partner that needs to be retired, and then he needs to be given a cooling off. Thereafter some other audit partners may take charge of that engagement. However, the firm can be appointed as an auditor for the maximum 2 terms of 5 years each, that is as per the Companies Act. Then provision of non-assurance service to an audit client, whenever we are giving some services which are of non-assurance nature to the audit client, that also needs to be seen, where the quantum of that, the fee from that, whether that would be impacting the independence. The last one is reports that include a restriction on use and distribution. So here, for example, if some more this independence or something is required, and somebody for some this institutional promoter, this buyers or QIVs or some such kind of things are being done, and they want some more stringent things and this, then that also needs to be seen. And the use of report, to whom the report is being issued, whether that is being issued for the general public or the use would be for only for the limited purpose. So that also needs to be ensured and needs to be taken care of. So the next slide is about breaches of the code, the new provision that has come for the first time, mechanism of self correction. Suppose we are doing some discharging some function, and in that if we find that something wrong that has happened, or some if some unintentional violation has happened, then what we need to do is we need earlier in the Code of Ethics 2009 nothing was prescribed, but now in Code of Ethics 2019 very beautifully they have prescribed the mechanism how and what steps that we need to take care of. So self correction is possible. Mention the steps to be taken in case of breach of independence, and then the CA who identifies a breach shall evaluate the significance or breach and its impact on the accountant's or the CA's ability to comply with the fundamental principles, that is of the fundamental principles of the integrity, objectivity, professional competence, due care, professional behavior, and all this confidentiality and all this that needs to be seen. So if a firm concludes that a breach of a requirement in this part has occurred, it shall take prescribed steps therein. For example, what he needs to do is either he will end his relationship with the client, or he will suspend for the time being so that he can reduce the threats to some acceptable level, or eliminate the interest that created breach. So the interest because of which the threat has come up, he'll eliminate that particular interest and consider the applicable legal or regulatory requirements and also apply them. So some major changes from Code of Ethics 2009 to 2019. Key audit partner. In Code of Ethics 2009, there was no such concept of key audit partner, wherein Code of Ethics 2019, the engagement partner, the individual responsible for the engagement quality control reviewer, we call this as EQCR, and other partner audit partners, if any, on the engagement team, who make the key decisions or judgments on significant matters with respect to the audit of the financial statements on which the firm will express an opinion. So whenever we are doing the audit, the person who is responsible for that audit and who is taking the major decisions and conducting the audit and monitoring the team and everything, that is the key audit partner. Then comes firm rotation. It contains the requirement relating to the partner's rotation only. No firm rotation requirement was there in the earlier Code of Ethics 2009. So if a partner has done audit for 7 years, then that partners was required to be take a cooling off by way of rotation, and another partner has to come in. But now Code of Ethics 2019, this includes both. Partner rotation will coexist along with the audit firm rotation wherever prescribed by the statute. So in case of Companies Act, there is a procedure for rotation of the audit firm. So firm rotation requirements, while the section 550 has been mentioned therein. So this cooling, as we discussed in Code of Ethics, 7 years, the partner rotation, 7 years time. Thereafter, a 2 years cooling off was required. Now, very categorically, they have divided the things in the new Code of Ethics 2019. 7 years for the partner in charge, key audit partner. He can be time on, that is the maximum time he can be on the assignment is 7 years. Thereafter, the engagement partner has to take a cooling off of 5 years, not 1, 2, or 3 years, but a cooling off 5 years. And the EQCR, that is the engagement quality control reviewer, he needs to take a cooling off of 3 years, and the other audit key audit partners, they need to take a cooling off 2 years from that particular assignment. So now, restriction on activities during cooling off. What a person cannot do during cooling off, or what does the cooling off means? So for example, the key audit partner has undergone cooling, but the audit remains with that particular firm. So what does it mean? That only the audit partner is changing, but the firm remains the same. So in such case, the prohibition is there on the audit partner who was auditing earlier. So there would be a restriction on him on consulting with engagement team regarding the technical or industry specific issues or transactions or event. It means that he should not be in any way he should be engaged, or in any ways he should be concerned with that particular client anymore, or even the engagement team that is there who is discharging or who is doing the audit. So prohibition on leading or coordinating the professional services provided by the firm to that audit client, or overseeing the relationship of the firm with that audit client. And the next one is prohibition on undertaking any role or activity that would result in the individual having significant or frequent interaction with senior management or those charged with the governance. So he should not even accept any such kind of roles whereby he would have to have frequent interaction with those senior management or those who are charged with the governance, or exerting direct influence on the outcome of the audit engagement. He should, within his organization also, he should not be in a position to influence the other people who are on the engagement of this client. Then comes the next one, management responsibilities. Nothing was mentioned about this in the Code of Ethics 2009, but now new Code of Ethics, this very clearly lays down the dealing with the management responsibilities. As per the same, the firm shall not assume a management responsibility for an audit client. So anything which is the responsibility of the management, for example, bookkeeping is the management's responsibility. So that should not be taken up by the auditor. So all such management responsibilities, it is very clearly defined in the Companies Act also, various items that has been given, which are the management services. So here now they have provided for the administrative services, which very well can be done by the chartered accountant. Then comes non-assurance service, section 600 and 950, prohibition on provisions of certain type of non-assurance services to audit clients, such as like internal audit. A statutory auditor cannot do the internal audit, accounting, bookkeeping services, partial prohibition in valuation services, IT system services, etc. That was there in the Code of Ethics 2009. So all the same provisions still continue to exist in 2019, but one more additional prohibition that has been brought in is prohibition on providing certain recruiting services now applies to all entities searching for or seeking out candidates and undertaking reference checks of prospective candidates. Suppose we are doing audit for some of the client, and so we cannot have the this recruitment facilities or such kind of things. Many a times the auditor looks for and provides the recruitment facilities to the client, but then this cannot be undertaken. This is very clearly prescribed in the new Code of Ethics 2019. The next one is taxation services to the audit clients. Taxation services is generally not seen to create any threats to independence. This was the view as per the Code of Ethics 2009. But now Code of Ethics 2019, it says guidance on taxation matters states that providing tax services to an audit client might create a self-review or advocacy threat. So we should not do that. But for the time being, it has been postponed as per the council's decision yesterday. But in the times to come, we need to see that if we are filing a tax return, still that comes under administrative service. Even if it would have been applicable, the provision which has been deferred, even if it would have been applicable, still we could have given that filed the tax return, because that is an administrative services. We are not doing any tax planning, we are not doing any tax. The only thing is the client has submitted some data to us, and based on that data, we are inputting the data in the software and getting the output, and that is being then uploaded. That output is again being shared with the client. The client will see that yes, the things are proper. He needs to ensure that yes, whatever he has given is perfectly there, and then we can do this. So this is what I have mentioned below. Tax return preparation, usually no threat. So this is an administrative service, and still we can continue to do. Tax calculation for the purpose of preparing accounting entries, self-review threat, since to be audited by the firm. So any provisions for the direct tax, deferred tax assets and liabilities and all such or other tax entries should not be passed. Otherwise also as the auditor, we are not passing those entries. Then tax planning, other tax advisory services might create self-review or advocacy threat. So this should always, or this should also not be provided. Tax planning service, otherwise also we are not, if we happens to be a CA auditor of the company. Then tax services involving valuation might perform only where the result of the valuation not have a direct effect on the financial statement. So what does it mean? For example, if for a client we are doing the valuation of his own shares, ABC Limited is a company, and if we are doing the valuation of the shares of the ABC, that is not going to impact the valuation of the company, right? But if so that is the liability side. But in the asset side, if that company is holding some investment of XYZ Limited, ABC is holding some investment of XYZ Limited. So if we are doing the valuation for XYZ Limited, then that resultant valuation plus or minus will directly impact the financial statement of ABC Limited. So we cannot do the valuation of the XYZ Limited, but we can still do the valuation of the audit client himself, but not of the investments of the audit client. So this is very categorical and clear about this. Then next come is assistance in the resolution of tax disputes might create a self-review or advocacy threat. Again, this is for the time being, so it is postponed. I'll take a break of half a minute over here, and we'll join again. Half a minute, please. Yeah. So now in the new code, this is mentioned as close and immediate family. So what is close and immediate family? In the code 2009, part A, close family and immediate family were replaced with relative as defined in section 6 of the Companies Act 1956. Now in 2019 edition, for companies, relatives of partners refer to definition as per section 277 that is there of the Companies Act, and for clients other than companies, immediate family or close family as appearing in the ISBA code is applicable. So what is close family? Close family includes a parent, child or sibling who is not an immediate family member, whereas immediate family means a spouse or equivalent. Equivalent means if somebody is living in live-in relationship or something that, so that is an equivalent. So spouse or equivalent or a dependent, these would be immediate family members, and close family members would be parent, maybe child or sibling who is not an immediate family member. So Code of Ethics 2019, inducements including gifts and hospitality. So Emma inducements they have been elaborated over here in more detail. These things have been given, so I'll not discuss because this site itself is self-explanatory, and we have so many more slides to be covered and time left is very less with us. Then no concept of materiality of loan and guarantee in the ISBA Code of Ethics 2005 and in the Code of Ethics in 2009. But now the ISBA Code of Ethics has introduced in 2018 the concept of materiality of loans and guarantees in determining whether such a loan guarantee is material to an individual. The combined net worth of the individual and the individual's immediate family members may be taken into account. So this is a new change which has been brought in, and then this concept was adopted in the Code of Ethics 2019 from ISBA itself in the volume 1. Well, so as I said, as a CA, we cannot accept contingent fees, but some exceptions has been given in this. So now we would be talking very much practical these things. Fee based on percentage profits or contingent upon the finding or result of such work is not allowed except as permitted under Regulation 192. So what are the things that are permitted? Charging of fees by members enrolled as insolvency professional. If I'm acting as an insolvency professional, then still I can charge. In case of liquidation, there is always the fee. The table itself that has been prescribed by IBBI is always percentage basis. So that is possible. Or fee for rendering non-assurance services to non-audit clients. This again is very important. Suppose I am into a practice of project financing and that client is not my audit client, then I can charge percentage based fee. I can charge 1% of the loan. That is possible, but only if that is my non-audit client. If he happens to be an audit client of mine, then I cannot charge percentage based fee even for the loan or the project finance work that I have done. Even in case of some IT appeals, if you are contesting for your client, you can have a success based fee. If we get successful in this, we can have this much fee. But that too only if he's your non-audit client. If he's your audit client, you cannot have that success based fee or such kind of things. So that is not allowed. Then management consulting services. Administrative services, section 602 of Code of Ethics 2019 deals with this. Earlier there was no such kind of things was there. So administrative services refers to the routine or mechanical work like compliance, like submitting forms. If you are submitting simply a company's returns like MGT7 or AOC for the annual return for the company, fine enough. It will not be covered under this because you are already having the data in your head. You are simply doing the input and processing the data and uploading it. So that's fine. You are filing IT return, that's fine. Nothing, no problem. Differentiated from the management responsibilities, the administrative services has been differentiated. And no enabling provision in the 9 code from the point of view of a member in practice, it was not there. Then 2009 code, if we talk about this is again important, insurance financial advisory services. As a chartered accountant, we cannot be the insurance agent. We cannot take insurance agency and can get commission from LIC or ICICI, Lombard or something like that. No, it is not possible. However, if our client comes to us and he says, these are the 5 policies that I am having and I need to evaluate for my purpose, and please guide me which policy should I get. And if you evaluate those policies and after evaluating you give him a decision or you give him advice that out of these 5, this is most beneficial to you, and you please take this policy. And because of that, if you pay you some fee, then yes, that is acceptable. Absolutely, there is no problem with this. Valuation of shares we have already discussed with this. Then the next one that again is very important is guidance on the tenders. In the 2009 code, it is not prohibited to respond to tenders of professional assignments. However, some council decisions were there, and based on that, the things were being taken care of. Now, in 2019 code, guidance in view of 7/4/2016 guidelines on tenders by the council, this has been included. And now, a member of the institute in practice shall not respond to any tender issued by an organization or user of the professional services in the areas of services which are exclusively reserved for chartered accountants, such as audit and attestation services. So the thing is very clear. We need to bear in mind these two things. One, the tender, if it is exclusively for chartered accountants, and the other thing, if no minimum fee is prescribed, that tender cannot be accepted at all. That cannot be responded. We should not respond to such kind of tenders. However, if a tender is being invited, which is not the monopoly of the chartered accountants, for example, now in these days, for example, if some internal audit is there and they are inviting tenders from the CAs as well as the cost accountants, so it is not exclusively for the chartered accountants. Yes, even though minimum fee is not mentioned over there, still we can respond, because our institute also wishes that we should not lose work to the other institutes. So they won't be barring us, but they said, yes, you can very well, when there are more than 2 set of professionals, or that is not the exclusive monopoly of the IC of the CA members, then definitely you can respond to such kind of tenders. And if the tender is in the exclusive domain of the chartered accountants, and if some minimum fee is prescribed, then yes, we can apply for such kind of, or respond to such kind of tenders. So we need to ensure that minimum fee is prescribed if it is exclusively for the chartered accountants. Then next comes use of the word CPA on visiting cards. We have seen many members, they might be using the word CPA and all these things. So friends, under the commentary in clause 7 of the part 1 of the first schedule to the CA Act 1949, this is not permitted to use the initials like CPA. We cannot use CPA as per the Code of Ethics 2009. But now Code of Ethics 2019 very clearly mentions that qualification of accounting students which institutes which have MRA or MOU with ICI is permitted. Like we are having MRA with the Institute of Australia, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Australia. Then yes, we can, if we are CPA from Australia, yes, we can mention that and not otherwise. So sponsoring activities, the earlier provision was silent on that. Now it is, it clearly prescribes that the member or firm not permitted to sponsor any event. However, they may sponsor an event conducted by the program organizing unit. Tomorrow, if Anand branch organizes one program and if any of the members sponsors that program, fine, you can do that. But provided it is a prior approval of the CPE. And if any member is, તમારે ત્યાં કોઈ થતું હોય, આપણે કીર્તન થતું હોય, ભજન થતું હોય, કઈ બી વસ્તુ એવી થતી હોય, અથવા કોઈ relating to CSR, may mention their blood donation camp થતું હોય, for example. If member is sponsoring any activities relating to CSR, may mention their individual name with the prefix CA. You can always mention CA Kamlesh Parikh, CA Ravisha, that is fine, CA Prakasha, that is fine. But you cannot use the logo of CA and you cannot mention the firm name. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુથી જેમાંથી આપણે firm ને benefit મળતો હોય, that is not possible. But yes, in my CA is a prefix that I have earned. So in my individual capacity, I can always mention CA Ravisha and sponsored by CA Ravisha, fine. Then next one is advertisement of teaching and coaching activities. So teaching is other occupation earlier as per Code of Ethics 2009. So Code of Ethics is silent on advertisement of teaching and all these if we talk about Code of Ethics 2009. But if we talk about 19, then it has been, there is a bar on the advertisement of coaching and teaching activities. Now they cannot. If we, sharing of the educational videos, Code of Ethics 2009 was silent. But Code of Ethics 2019 provides educational videos may be uploaded by the members. They can do it. However, no reference should be made to the CA firm wherein he may be a partner or proprietor. So far as you are not mentioning your firm, but you are doing as CA Kamlesh Parikh, it's fine. Advertisement in movie or TV. So again, earlier Code of Ethics 2009 was silent, but here in 2019, members or firm's name is allowed in TV movie credits, provided not mentioned differently from other persons. So whenever we are going to theaters to see movies, now we see that invariably it is mentioned chartered accountant and then this Talati and Talati or so and so company or XYZ and company. This such kind of things you will find over there. But if that is not prominently and separately mentioned and in the same style and font with along with the name of the other cast, crew and everything, then yes, absolutely there is no problem. You can do that because that is not an advertisement. That is a credit that you have earned by doing the work of that. So that is possible. Authorship of book. Firm name is not permitted while authoring a book in the Code of Ethics 2009. However, in case of Code of Ethics 2019, articles and presentations also included along with the books and professional entertainment is prohibited. However, the use of prefix of CA or name of firm is now permitted. Advertisement of celebration 2009 was silent, but here 2019 especially lays down considering the need of interpretation or socialization relationship of members through such get-together occasion. Advertisement of silver, golden, diamond, platinum or centenary celebrations of CA firms may be published in newspaper. તમારી ફર્મના 25 વર્ષ પૂરા થઈ ગયા અને તમે કોઈ સેલિબ્રેશન કરો તો તમે એના ન્યૂઝપેપરની અંદર આભાર એ કરવા માટે gratitude to show the gratitude. If you give a newspaper advertisement, that is fine enough. But again, that should in no ways seems to be like you are doing the advertisement for your firm. Then sharing the firm details in an interview. Suppose આજકાલ ટીવી ઉપર ચેનલ્સમાં બહુ બધા ડિબેટ્સ ન્યૂઝ ચેનલમાં ડિબેટ્સ થાય છે અને they invariably they call the tax practitioner, chartered accountants, experts. If you go on such kind of this, then as per the Code of Ethics 2009, sharing of firm detail during interview not to result in publicity એવું હતું. But if we talk about the Code of Ethics 2019, sharing of firms detail during interview not to result in publicity, but we need to ensure that any details to be given only if the interviewer or the other person he asks you some specific questions and of factual nature only. It should in no ways be like you are boasting about your firms, you are trying to publicize your firms, you are trying to do the marketing for your firm. No, if it is so, then it would be a problematic issue. Otherwise, there is absolutely no problem. If in consequential this answer, fine enough. Next is illumination of the signboard. So signboard, if we talk about, so earlier there was a prohibition with regard to use of glow sign or neon lights on the large signboard as is used by traders or shopkeepers would not be proper. It was said like this. However, in 2019, it has been added that while keeping in mind the appropriate visibility and illumination of the signboard, we can take the decision. For example, અત્યારે હવે 25 માળની એક બિલ્ડિંગ થઈ ગઈ. 25 માળની જ્યારે બિલ્ડિંગ થાય તો આપણે હા ઉપર એકદમ નાનું એક સાઇનબોર્ડ હોય તો કદાચ એ દેખાય બી નહીં. So in such cases we have to see that yes, it can be appropriately visible હોવું જોઈએ. તો એના માટે આપણને લાગતું હોય ગ્લો નિયન સાઇનબોર્ડ આપણે કરીએ તો that is fine enough. There is absolutely no problem with that, but we need to take care of that. Then internet edit to TV films. હવે જે આપણે ડિસ્કસ કર્યું, members may appear on television, films and internet and agree to broadcast in the radio or give lectures at forums and may give their names and describe themselves as chartered accountants. કોઈ problem નથી, we can do it. Special qualification or specialized knowledge directly relevant to the subject matter of the program may also be given. કોઈ problem નથી. Firm name may also be mentioned. However, any exaggerated claim, જે મેં કીધું, exaggerated claim ના કરી શકો or any કોઈ તમે બીજા સાથે કોઈ comparison ના કરી શકો કે અમારી firm આ કરે છે પણ બીજું આ કોઈ જ નથી કરતું. No, such kind of things won't be possible. And whatever he may say or write must not be promotional of him. એટલું આપણે બહુ silver lining છે, thin line of difference, but we need to see that this doesn't mean that we are doing the marketing for our firm. And હવે આપણે જે NOC ની વાત કરી, ઘણી વખત આપણે NOC માટે મોકલીએ છીએ અને ત્યાં ખબર પડે કે પ્રિમાઇસીસ લોગ્ડ છે. એકચ્યુઅલી પ્રિમાઇસીસ માં કોઈ છે જ નહીં. અને જ્યારે આ રિટર્ન થઈને આવે અને એમાં ઉપર લખેલું હોય ઓફિસર્સ ફાઉન્ડ લોગ્ડ રિટર્ન ઓન ધ એક્નોલેજમેન્ટ ડ્યુ કોલમ, તો ઇટ શેલ બી ટીમ્ડ એઝ ડેલિવર્ડ. એનો મતલબ આ છે કે આપણું ડિલિવર્ડ થઈ ગયું છે. ફર્મ નોટ ફાઉન્ડ એટ ધ ગિવન એડ્રેસ. અમુક ટાઈમ એવું બી થાય કે ફર્મ મળી જ નહીં, લોક નહીં, ફર્મ જ નથી આ એડ્રેસ ઉપર. So if the communication sent by with the remarks no such office exists at this address and address is registered, જે ઓફિસ આ એડ્રેસ ઉપર આપણે મોકલ્યું ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યૂટ ઉપર રજિસ્ટર્ડ છે અને ત્યાંથી રિટર્ન આવે તો એનો મતલબ આ છે કે it has been served. એ નોન સર્વિસની જે આવે છે ડ્યુટી એ નહીં આવે એમાં. Then guidance on a members in practice being member કરતા in HUF doing business incorporated. હવે આ નવી વસ્તુ એની અંદર આવી ગઈ. Must result from inheritance. કોઈ બી HUF એ ઇનહેરિટન્સ માંથી કે સક્સેશન માંથી આવ્યો ઓર ફેમિલી પાર્ટીશન થાય એનામાંથી આવે છે, it is fine. Only after specific and prior approval of the council એમાં કરતા થઈ શકે and કરતા cannot have that active role. He cannot have active role and attached functions will not be permitted if he is doing any such active role. And a clarification has been incorporated that a member engaged as a karta of HUF doing family business will be within the limits prescribed by the council. જ્યારે council પાસેથી specific permission લે છે અને જે council limits આપે, it has to be within that if he makes investment from the funds pertaining to HUF only and provided he is not actively engaged in the management of the said business. તો એને કોઈ બી ચેક સાઇનિંગ આ તે એ બધી વસ્તુ બી એને ના કરવી જોઈએ. So next is we have already discussed this generally accepted audit principle, so I'll rush through. Then ceiling of fee, this we have already discussed, I think. Yes, and this is being postponed as well, so we'll not discuss now these few things which you will find very interesting. A CA firm may register itself on ઉદ્યોગ આધાર. હવે ઘણા લોકોનો ક્વેશ્ચન આવે, આપણે MSME જે પોર્ટલ છે એના ઉપર આપણે રજીસ્ટર કરી શકીએ? Yes, you can do it. Then there is no problem for internal auditor of a company to acquire or purchase shares of the said company. આપણે કોઈ કંપનીના internal auditor હોઈએ છીએ અને કંપનીના આપણે shares લેવા હોય તો yes, this is permissible. Then it is not permissible for a member to use WhatsApp to send messages. ઘણા લોકો અત્યારે છે ને WhatsApp ની અંદર એના પ્રોફાઇલ આ તે મોકલતા હોય, ફર્મ ને વિશે બહુ બધું અને માર્કેટિંગ કરતા હોય. So that is absolutely prohibited. Yes, if somebody has asked for, they've asked for your profile and then you are sending it, fine enough. But you cannot push through the things, but you can always, if it is in a pool mode, if they are asking and if you are giving, it's fine. Then the next one is in practice being director simpliciter in a company cannot sign ROC forms of the company. હવે એક તમે CA in practice છો અને તમે director simpliciter બી છો in a company માં, તો તમારે conflict of role થાય, એટલે you cannot sign this. And then a chartered accountant in practice cannot act as can act as an authorized representative of a foreign company provided he is not the auditor of the company. એક CA practice માં છે અને એ પોતે એ કંપનીનો ઓડિટર નથી. In such case he can be an authorized representative for that company in India. Why it is not moving? Next one is a chartered accountant in practice can provide services through kiosk only and only if the services provided are professional activities of a practicing chartered accountant and are permitted, otherwise permitted under the act, so fine, not otherwise. A CA in practice is not permitted to accept the audit assignment of a bank in case he has taken loan against a fixed deposit. Even if the loan has been taken against fixed deposit, still we cannot do the audit of that bank. Then if you are holding a credit card of a bank, fine enough, we can be the auditor. But the balance should not, outstanding balance should not be more than 10,000 rupees. That we should take care of. And CA in service is allowed to take e-return registration. કોઈ CA practice માં નથી અને એને e-return intermediary થવું હોય, so still he can take that kind of registration. But the only thing is he cannot certify the return. કેમ કે attestation નો power છે ને ખાલી એ practicing CA પાસે જ છે, બીજા કોઈ પાસે નથી. In case where CA in practice is a non-executive director in a company, he or a firm in which he is a partner should not accept the appointment as a statutory auditor. હવે એમાં કોઈ પર્ટિક્યુલર કેસ એવો બને કે CA in practice is a non-executive director in a company, તો એની જે ફર્મ છે they cannot accept the appointment as a statutory auditor of the company which is a joint venture of the original company, as it would impact the independence. એક બીજી એમાં કોઈ joint venture થતી હોય તો એ કંપનીની અંદર બી he cannot be. Then equity research advisor નું કામ કરી શકે, but he cannot publish retail reports on this. If the member of trust, અગર કોઈ CA કોઈ trust નો member છે તો એ trust નો auditor એ ના થઈ શકે છે. Then a CA in practice may engage himself as a registration authority for obtaining digital signature, possible, fine enough. A CA in practice can act as a mediator in court, since arbitrator as a arbitrator આપણને otherwise be allowed છે. But a question આવે છે અત્યારે સ્ટામ્પ માટે લોકોને ઘણા registration લોકો લે છે અત્યારે સ્ટામ્પ વેન્ડર તરીકે, બટ એમાં આપણા ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યુટ કોઈ બી કાઉન્સિલ જે છે હજી આપણને એની પરમિશન આપી નથી. And a CA accountant in practice cannot become financial advisor and receive fees commission. અત્યારે ઘણા લોકો MP ના મ્યુચ્યુઅલ ફંડના ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુટર ને આતે એજન્સી લે છે, but then that is not permissible to a practicing chartered accountant. A CA cannot exercise lien over the client document record for non payment. आपने कोई क्लाइंट ની ઓડિટ કરતા હોય અને એને આપણે ફી પેમેન્ટ નથી કરી તો આપણે એને આ ના કહી શકીએ કે તે ફી ના પેમેન્ટ કરી એટલે we will not give you the books of accounts, ચોપડા ના આપીએ કે એના બીજા કોઈ બી ડોક્યુમેન્ટ્સ આપણે જોડે પડ્યા હોય. Collection or recovery of the fee is a separate proceeding, but we will have to give him his documents because we cannot have any lien on such kind of document. It is not permissible for CA firm to print its vision and value behind the visiting cards. કોઈ બી visiting card પર તમે ના કરી શકો, visiting card ઉપર તમે ફોટા भी ના છાપી શકો. It is not permissible for CA in practice to take agencies of NSDL, અત્યારે intermediary return બધા લે છે લોકો, PAN card, TAN, this is not possible for a practicing CA. It is permissible for a member in practice to be a settler of a trust થઈ શકે છે, and service may appear as tax representative કોઈ બી સીએ જેના પાસે સીઓપી નથી, he may appear as a tax representative only before the tax authorities on behalf of his employer. કોઈ કંપનીમાં જોબ કરતા હોય ને એ કંપનીના બિહાફ ઉપર એપિયર થઈ શકે, but not even on behalf of other employees of that employer. એટલે તમારે પાસે નોર્મલી તમે જે એઝ અ લિટિગેશન તમારે પ્રેક્ટિસ કરવી હોય અને ટેક્સ રિપ્રેઝેન્ટેટિવ તરીકે જવું હોય તો સીઓપી અધરવાઇઝ તમારે મસ્ટ છે. A CA who is the statutory auditor of the bank cannot accept for the same financial year stock audit of the same branch of the bank. That cannot be, or any of the branches of the same bank. એટલે આપણે દાખલા તરીકે બેંક ઓફ બરોડાના સ્ટેચ્યુટરી ઓડિટર છીએ તો during that entire year we cannot have any stock audit of that particular bank or any other branch or other branch, anything. Then a firm which has been appointed as the internal auditor of a PF trust by a government company cannot be appointed as a statutory auditor of the company. However, a firm can act as the internal auditor of the company and statutory auditor of its employees' PF fund under the new Companies Act. Then a concurrent auditor of X bank cannot be appointed as a statutory auditor of Bank Y if it is sponsored by Bank X. And a CA in practice is not permissible to hold custom broker's license. That is again not allowed to CA. Then it is permissible for 2 or more chartered accountants practice collectively to have joint training session for the client. અત્યારે આ જીએસટી આવ્યું ત્યારે બધા લોકો એમ નવું ટ્રેનિંગ સેશન્સ અને આ તે કરતા હતા, તો બે જણ જોઈન્ટલી કરતા હોય અને પછી એ લોકો શેર્સ એની અંદર ફી શેર કરતા હોય તો that is permissible. And GST training can be provided to the existing clients. In case of non-clients, training can be provided only if the member is invited to provide such training. કોઈ એમને સામેથી બોલાવતા કે તમે આઈને અમારી ટ્રેનિંગ લો અને પછી પૈસા લેતા હોય તો that is fine enough. A member can send presentation on GST, write up on GST only to existing client. ના પોતાના ક્લાયન્ટ હોય એને મોકલતા હોય fine enough, but outside world ને at large ના મોકલી શકે. અને આપણે સીએ ગ્રુપમાં ને એ બધામાં મોકલતા હોય એમાં કોઈ પ્રોબ્લેમ નથી, કેમ કે આપણે મેમ્બર્સમાં કરીએ છીએ, not to the clients. And to propose client, if any inquiry was received from the proposed client with regard to the same, કોઈ client ની કોઈ inquiry આવે અને આપણે respond કરીએ, it is fine, but સુઓ મોટો આપણે સામેથી ના કરી શકીએ. It is not permissible for a member. ઘણા સીએ મેં જોયું હવે આ લોકો એમ લગતા હોય કે I am a GST consultant. No, they cannot mention themselves as a GST consultant. They are chartered accountant first અને પછી ભલે જીએસટી કન્સલ્ટિંગ કરતા હોય પણ એ લોકો પોતાને એમ જીએસટી કન્સલ્ટન્ટ તરીકે ના લખે બોર્ડ ઉપર કે કોઈ જગ્યાએ અમુક જગ્યાએ તમને એવું લખેલું મળશે બોર્ડ ઉપર કે so and so GST consultant. Then a member can share GST updates mentioning himself as a CA with individual name, provided the communication is limited to providing updates. Mention of firm name is not allowed. Then frequently asked question, can an auditor write the books of accounts of the auditee? બધાને ખબર છે આપણે ના કરી શકીએ. Whether a member in practice can be a director simplicity of a company? Yes, he can be. But a MD કે whole time director ના બની શકે અને કોઈ બી ચેક બેક એ બધી વસ્તુ એને સાઇન ના કરવી જોઈએ. એને ખાલી સિટિંગ ફીસ મળે, that is fine. Whether a member in practice can be a partner or designated partner in an LLP which is not doing professional work but is in the commercial activities? No, a member cannot be a partner or designated partner in a LLP which is not doing professional work. કાલ ઉઠીને એક LLP છે જે રિયલ એસ્ટેટ નું કામ કરે છે, તો can a practicing CA be a partner or a designated partner? No, he cannot be. ના થઈ શકે. Then can a member in practice provide portfolio management services? ના, એકદમ straight forward no. Whether the internal auditor of an entity bank can undertake consultancy work of the same internal auditor છે તો કોઈ restriction છે જ નહીં.
મોનાબેન,
Then whether the member in practice can print QR code on his visiting cards? Yes, QR code print કરી શકે, પણ QR code પર એવી જ ઇન્ફોર્મેશન આવી જોઈએ જે વિઝિટિંગ કાર્ડ ઉપર પરમિસિબલ છે. એવું ના થાય કે બીજી બધી તમારી આખી પ્રોફાઇલ આવી જાય, આ તે આવી જાય. So no, that is not permissible. Time is already 6:34 and most of the things would be self-explanatory, Ravi bhai. So I think with this I would like to end the presentation. And before that, I would like to give a specific mention that this whole presentation was prepared by my team member Nimisha. She is with me and she has taken great pain for the last 3 days. She has been into this and then finally she prepared this. Thank you very much for the patient hearing. And any અંદર છે ને બધી slides I have given the links of all these things, code of ethics, અને સ્લાઇડ માં આપણે ક્લિક કરશું તે બધા જે ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યૂટ ના એનાઉન્સમેન્ટ્સ અને એ બધું જે છે એ બી એના સાથે આવી જશે અને બહુ બધા સેલ્ફ એક્સપ્લેનેટરી છે. તમને 2-3 દિવસ જોઈશે એ બધા વાંચવા માટે.
પેલું પ્રોવિઝનલ વાળું, હેલો
હા
વિકાસભાઈ, જે આપણે પ્રોવિઝનલ ઓડિટ નું આપણે આપીએ છીએ કે પેલું ફોરકાસ્ટિંગ વાળું કરીએ છીએ, જે મેં 2400 અને એ કર્યું, એ પણ આમાં આવી જાય છે એનું એ લિંક?
ના, એ લિંક એમાં નથી, હું તમને અલગથી મોકલી આપીશ.
ઓકે ઓકે
એ છે ને એંગેજમેન્ટ સ્ટેન્ડર્ડ્સ છે. તો એ પ્રકાશભાઈને કહીશ કે એક બીજો લેક્ચર અલગથી રાખે ગમે ત્યારે, કેમ કે ધેટ વુડ બી એપ્લિકેબલ ટુ મેની મેમ્બર્સ.
રાઈટ રાઈટ.
હા, તો આપણે
અત્યારે
પ્રોસ્પેક્ટિવ
બેંક વાળા બહુ એક્સપેક્ટેશન રાખે
Yes.
છે કે ભાઈ બધા સહી કરે છે એટલા માટે.
અને આપણે સહી કરીએ એમાં તકલીફ બી પડે, કેમ કે એમાં યુડીઆઈન બી આપણે હવે જનરેટ કરવું છે, અને there is a specific set of procedure. ખાલી સિમ્પલી આપણે આપણું તો પ્રેક્ટિસ શું હોય કે નોર્મલી એની લઈએ બેલેન્સ શીટ અને આપણે સાઇન કરી દઈએ કે ભાઈ ટ્રુ કોપી, સર્ટિફાઈડ કોપી ઓર વોટ એવર ઇટ ઇઝ, પણ એમાં આપણે ભરાઈ જઈશું. સો there is a specific set of procedure that has been mentioned. એ આપણને ફોલો કરીને પછી જ આપણે કરવું જોઈએ. સો મારા જોડે પ્રેઝન્ટેશન રેડી છે, એ તો તમને હું મોકલી જ આપીશ. બીજો એક લેક્ચર મારે 6મી તારીખે મુંબઈમાં છે એના ઉપર, તો મેં બનાવ્યું છે, એ તમને હું મોકલી આપીશ. બટ જ્યારે આપણે લેક્ચર જ્યારે ફ્યુચરમાં એના ઉપર રાખવું હોય તો તમે કહેજો તો આપણે કરશું.
તો તમારું મુંબઈનો લેક્ચર તો અમને આપજો ને લિંક, અમે એમાં પે
link આપી
કરીને
દઈશ.
સાંભળીશું.
Done.
હા
Done.
બરાબર.
We'll do
Yes,
that.
sir. ઓકે ઓકે.
વિકાસભાઈ,
યસ કન્વીનર સર.
હવે જીએસટીઆર 9C
હમ
એમાં ટ્રીટેડ એઝ ઓડિટ તરીકે આપણે એનઓસી લેવું પડે પ્રીવિયસ ઓડિટર જોડે
યસ,
કે એઝ
કોઈ
અ
પણ
સર્ટિફિકેટ
લેવી જ પડે, લેવી જ પડે.
લેવી જ પડે ને?
યસ.
ઓકે.
એવું પડે.
ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, હવે કોઈને જો ક્વેશ્ચન આન્સર હોય તો વિકાસભાઈ આપણી સાથે છે તો આપણે એમનો લાભ લઈ શકીએ.
નહીં તો મને મોબાઈલ પર ડાયરેક્ટ કરે તોય ગમે ત્યારે વાંધો નહીં, ગમે ત્યારે કરી શકે.
એ તો વી હેવ રાઇટ્સ, એ અમે તમને કહી શકીએ છીએ વિકાસભાઈ.
યસ સર, યસ સર.
તો વન્ડરફુલ પ્રેઝન્ટેશન વિકાસભાઈ, જબરજસ્ત તમે બોલ્યા છો.
થેન્ક યુ સર.
બહુ બધી વસ્તુ તમે આવરી લીધી છે, અને બહુ એટલે કદાચ તમે થાકી ગયા હશો એવું મને તો ફીલ થાય છે.
ના, થાકી નથી ગયો. મારે એકચ્યુઅલી એક ડોક્ટરનો એપોઇન્ટમેન્ટ છે આગળ, નહીં તો અડધો કલાક હજી બી આપણે લઈ શક્યા હોત.
ઓકે ઓકે. ના ના, 2 કલાક બહુ
લઈને ડોક્ટર પાસે જવું છે એટલે બીજું કઈ નથી.
રાજુભાઈ આપી દો.
તો ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, હવે વિકાસભાઈને જે ડોક્ટર્સની એપોઇન્ટમેન્ટ આપણે મિસ નહીં થવા દઈએ. તો
બરાબર.
ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, વિકાસભાઈ અને એમની ટીમે જે પેઇન લીધું છે 3 દિવસનું, સ્પેસિફિકલી ફોર અવર નડિયાદ સીપી સ્ટડી સર્કલ, સો આઈ વિલ ગીવ ઓન બિહાફ ઓફ સ્ટડી સર્કલ give special thanks to him, and he has delivered and enlightened us in such a special manner that we can deliver a high standard of professional service within framework of institute. Now I request Hiren to offer a vote of thanks.
નડિયાદ સીપી સ્ટડી સર્કલ વતીથી વિકાસભાઈનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. પહેલા ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપવાનું થયું ત્યારે ટેકનિકલ કારણથી જોઈન ના થઈ શક્યો, અને મારો ફોન પણ એવું કહેતો હતો કે વિકાસભાઈ આપણા જ મેમ્બર છે તો એમનું ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન ના હોય, એટલે એમનું ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન ફોન જ ના પાડી દીધી કે નથી આપવું. આપણા જ હર હંમેશા આપણી સાથે દરેક ટોપિકમાં લાઈવ સેશન આપવા માટે જાણીતા વિકાસભાઈનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. બહુ જ સરસ લેક્ચર તમે ડિલિવર કર્યું, અને બહુ સારી માહિતી જે અત્યારથી એપ્લિકેબલ થઈ એના માટે આપી. ફરીથી ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. દરેક સભ્યોનો પણ ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર, અને દરેકને એસોસિએશનની મેમ્બરશીપ, આપણી જે સ્ટડી સર્કલની મેમ્બરશીપ ફી છે તે ભરીને ગૂગલ ફોર્મમાં લિંક કરી આપવા માટે વિનંતી. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
અને પ્રકાશભાઈ એટલું જ કહીશ, આ જે પ્રેઝન્ટેશન છે ને એને એક વખત ચોક્કસ જાતે જ વાંચશો ને તો બહુ બધું એમાંથી ખબર પડશે. So this presentation, the work that Nimisha has done on this, if you will go through, you will see so many more things. અને જે લિંક છે સ્પેશિયલી એમાં કેવું છે, બહુ એક ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યૂટે જ્યારે બી પ્રેઝન્ટેશન્સ આપ્યા છે, એનાઉન્સમેન્ટ્સ કર્યા છે, એક ખાલી 2 પેજના FAQs ટાઈપના છે જે પાછળ લિંકમાં આપેલા છે. તો તમે ગમે ત્યારે ઊંઘતા પહેલા 15 મિનિટ
એમ પણ એટલી કરી દીધી છે કે અમારે એક વખત ગો થ્રુ થવું જ પડશે.
એ કરવું જ પડશે. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
So friends, now we shall end this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.